Everybody, good afternoon and good evening, friends and enemies. TTRPG is a channel dedicated to the representation of marginalized folks in the TTRPG community. We run TTRPGs and have a really great talk show on the last Sunday of the month at 2 p.m. Pacific. All of our GMs use safety tools such as lines and veils or the X and O system. Content warnings for this show include potential romance between characters and NPCs and moderate violence. Hi, friends. My name is Miguel. I'll be GMing this evening's Freehold Fiasco here at TTRPG with some very excellent players. I'm very excited to introduce them to you. But first, I'm going to introduce myself. Miguel, as I said, my pronouns are he, him. I'm a tabletop enthusiast, hobbyist. I run a little homebrew. I play some games here and there. I GM. I play and stream with TTRPG, hopefully some others here soon. And I will be game mastering tonight's game of Thirsty Sword Lesbians entitled The Freehold Fiasco, Part 1. I don't know why I just said Part 1. I don't know if there's going to be more parts, but The Lost Relic. ... Who knows? Before we get started, I'd like to go around the table and introduce our fantastic players for all of you, starting with Angela.
Hello there, everyone. Fantastic to be here on TTRPG with a fantastic crew of delightful folks ready to engage in lesbian-related shenanigans. I am a TTRPG performer, a writer, a poet, occasionally facilitate workshops related to disability justice, rights, and also trans-related issues. And also a budding game designer. I've created a whole bunch of things like playbooks for the Slayers RPG, all inspired by the Final Fantasy series, and also will be hopefully releasing my first ever game by midway through first quarter of next year. So hopefully by sometime in February. So that is me. I am looking forward to this game as this is my first time playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians, and I am so excited for it.
Thank you so much. And how about we'll go with Darby next.
Hello, I'm Darby. I am a person, definitely not a possum in a skin suit. But yeah, I'm here excited to play Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I'm one of the admin for TTRPG, and I'm excited for my first appearance on this channel, I think. So this will be fun. Pronouns are she, her.
Thank you so much. And we will move right along over to Momo.
Hello, I'm Momo. I am a DM, a player, a RPer, TTRPGs, and excited to play with the awesome group we have here. And pronouns are she, they.
Thank you. And let's round it out with Car.
Hello, I'm Car. Pronouns are she, any. And I am an avid fan of everybody that's in this game. I am a devoted fan to TTRPG channel for reasons of complete and utter bias. But just absolutely love everybody here, and normally I'm lurking in the chat, so I'm excited to actually be doing like RP on the stream instead of just like for funsies off stream. So haha, it's my moment to shine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, now we've got our players introduced. I would like to introduce our setting briefly, where tonight's adventures will take place. It is a city on the western coast of a continent called Pangolin. Not just kidding, not Pangolin, Pancolin. The sea, not like the cute little animal. Looks like a sand shrew. Anyway, it's the sea, Pancolin. I should have the name from panko, like breadcrumbs. Anyway, I digress. On the western shore of the continent of Pancolin, in Moon Bay, sits the city of Freehold, which rests atop an island in the shape of a crescent moon. The island itself was once more of a full moon, but Calamity fell upon it, and much of the old city, as it is called, is now underneath the shores, underneath the sea in the bay itself. But what remains is a shining beacon of survival for the peoples of the continent who've befallen many tragedies, many calamities, catastrophes in their times, has made Freehold something of a destination for many refugees, many pilgrims, many pioneers, many people just looking to start life anew. Has made it a very vibrant and diverse metropolis. Maybe not metropolis. That's the word. That's what Superman's from, right? But metropolitan. But a city alive with magic and with many different clashing and blending cultures, right? Our players are both visitors and residents of the city, come together as friends to do a bit of celebration this evening, as the city itself is on the eve of what is known as selection season, a season of lockdown, when all of the denizens, citizens, residents of Freehold come together to elect their city council people, their magistrates, their representatives, their constables, right? A very venerable old tradition in the city. But in the months leading up to it, there's a bit of cutting loose, right? A lot of travel in and out, a lot of carnivals and celebrations and parades and processions, one of which is known as the Freehold Fiasco, sort of the worst kept secret in the city, right? And this underground, sometimes literal, race that takes place between some of the seedier elements of the city. A lot of coin changing hands, a lot of fun being had. But this evening, our players are embarking on maybe not racing themselves, but partaking in all of the ancillary delights that come with such a vibrant and celebratory season. So if we go around one more time, everyone, and have you introduce your character and let us know what it is you do here in the city of Freehold. And I'm going to go backwards and pretend I remember the order I did the other one. But we are going to start with Clark.
Hermione, my lovely nature witch. She likes to go out to the pier. She is, some might call her crabby, crab-like perhaps. She's a bit of a hermit, but she's trying to come out of her shell a little bit. So she still gets a little homesick for the ocean. She's trying her hand out being on land. She's really excited for the adventures, but what keeps her able to be around people and around others is absolutely being able to go out and just sort of sit in peace with her friend, who she does not know her name, but they're like best friends because they can just sit together. If one of them wants to talk, sure, they talk, without judgment, without care, but with absolute attention. If they just want to sit in silence, they sit in silence and just sort of take a chill, just relax, listen to the sounds of the oceans. And if there's a good catch, she'll get from her friend, who she's sure she's going to have some names at some point in time. But she might get, an extra fish, maybe. But not any of the shellfish. That would just be wrong on so many levels. And her friend does not ever catch shellfish. So, top tier. Really respectful in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's.
Does Hermione perhaps have an animal companion, a familiar?
How could I forget Lady Pom Poms? Her marine otter, who is her familiar. Sorry, I'm seeing Angela dying a little bit. I'm living for it. Yes, Lady Pom Poms is a marine otter and has come with her on her adventure to the land. And thankfully, since she doesn't have gills or anything like that, she's perfectly fine on land, but also enjoys frolicking on the pier with Hermione, and might also maybe be partaking of any of the catch of the day. And just does not come near Hermione if she happens to get shellfish. Just takes that somewhere else, and they just don't talk about that. Yeah.
So, what does bring a shellless crab folk to the city of Freehold? What drew Hermione here?
It gets a little. There's a little bit of a drive for adventure inside every hermitage shelled crab, and a need to, they outgrow their space and they just kind of need to look for where they belong and what fits right, and sometimes what fits right might, after a little bit, you live there for a bit and you're like, no, I'm feeling like this isn't it anymore. And you just discard that home and you move on to the next one that's just maybe a little bigger, maybe has room for you to grow, experience more things. And she's finally at a point where she's like, okay, maybe maybe the entire city's not her home, but that little nook she's in the she found a nice little place to rent for a little bit. She's got a little off the rent because she likes to clean up, and so does some chores, keeps things tidy. Maybe some of the discards might make their way into her room because she's trying to figure out what shiny things she likes or doesn't like. And sometimes you just gotta decorate with somebody else's discards, and just cleans the area, makes it homey, makes it cozy, but keeps it clean for everybody else. And then sometimes goes and sells some wares. But yeah, she's usually just chilling in her little village, her little home.
Lastly, I believe Hermione has a sword.
Yes.
Made of a mangrove tree.
Yes, her
correct?
sword is a mangrove wood sword. It's a very thirsty sword. It does crave a lot of water. In fact, so does she. She does also appreciate females. So one might call her a thirsty lesbian when she gets a little parched. Like many of those who are a little bit of a hermit crab disposition, even if you are a land-based one, you got to have some water. You get parched, you need a little bit of water every day, or you're just going to dehydrate. And so, yeah, she's a thirsty lesbian with a thirsty sword.
And I did have one, I meant to run this by you earlier, but one proposal for the sword, if I may. I had kind of an idea for it.
Oh my goodness, my sword's got a proposal before I do?
For real, earlier, before the stream today. In my mind, the sword is sort of a tradition with your hermetic crab people, where when one leaves to go on travels or an adventure, they are gifted this sword, which are actually, it's not just made of a mangrove tree, it is a mangrove tree. In my mind, I see the hilt as the tree, sort of like a smaller, sort of like bonsai kind of situation, right? Where it's been cultivated, but it's not that it's been like kept small, but they just grow small. But the root system itself grows long and hards and petrifies into the shape of a blade. And when the tree is cultivated, when it's brought out of the ground, it is given to you, and that you keep this hydrated, right? This will protect you. This will be your companion. This will be your friend throughout your travels. And then when you, as a traveler, have seen the sights, you've adventured your adventures, and you're ready to put down roots where you have found your forever home, you plant this tree, and it no longer is a weapon. No longer sort of grows into its full height, its full size, and then starts to produce more of these for the people of your new community, who then choose to go off and go into the world.
That is exactly what happens. It's, some people figuratively put down roots, and honestly, Hermione took all of them at their word. thought they were actually also, had a similar tradition and put down roots literally with some form of tree. Very surprised to find that was actually a figure of speech and not actually a description of their family's tradition. But yes, the intention is that at some point in time she will put down roots, and it will be her sword.
And perhaps Hermione was attracted to Freehold because a portion of the island itself is something of arboreum that is all sprung from a cutting of the world tree. Now, there are debates among scholars whether this counts as actually being the world tree, since the original was destroyed, and this being a cutting is really just a propagation, so it's not the real thing. Nevertheless, beautiful gardens. And,
is it a clone? Is it a baby? Yeah.
It's that whole baby Groot question, right?
Argued both, honestly.
Now we know Hermione's position, because it's a very hot topic of the times. Now, I'm doing this backwards, and if I remember, then that means Momo's next.
Hello. Yes.
Tell us about your character.
All right. So my character is Nori, and she is a spooky witch. She grew up in kind of the undercity of this metropolitan town. And she is like a witch via her family, basically. So it would like skip a generation, every other generation, typically. And so she grew up around her grandmother and their shop in the here and beyond. And and she has a familiar, which is a little raccoon that looks kind of spectral almost in nature. One half of its face is very cute and fluffy and soft, and the other side is skeletal and spooky. And
like
has right. Yeah, and it has its little hands are skeleton hands, but its body is very round and fluffy. So yeah, she is very strange and often misunderstood. She likes the weird and unknown to most, but often not so much to her, as she communes with the unseen. And yeah.
And for Nori, what form does the unseen take?
They take like a spectral ghost type of form, like kind of a like shadowy, almost like shadowy, starry kind of form.
Fantastic, thank you. And I believe Nori has a friend who helps run the here and beyond. Thank you.
Her friend is Emil, and he's a very tall, lanky lad, kind of soft-spoken. Someone who is not bothered by the strangeness that kind of emanates around her. And yeah, that's her bestie.
That's my bestie.
Yeah.
Righty. And what about Darby? Tell us a bit about your character, Verdi.
Hello. My character Verdi is a seeker. She grew up kind of being told to like how her purpose in life is to obey this authority and what this authority has set out for her in her life. But she ended up getting really injured during a fight and woke up in a hospital in a place that she had never been to before, and is now in this city filled with totally different people, totally different customs, and is trying her best to figure it out. She has a friend who is certainly trying to help guide her into integrating into society in some manner.
And where is this place, this authority that Verdi hails from?
I believe it is the Sun Empire.
Oh yes, far to the south from Freehold.
very, very far to the south. It's not doing too great, but she doesn't really think that. She thinks that this place is everything is great there. Sure, we have to ration our crackers every day. You know, some days you get a quarter cracker, some days you get a half cracker. You know, but
Not very much.
it's just how life is. You know,
That's how life is in the Sun Empire.
of course.
You got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. All for the good of the empire.
Right. Excellent. Thank you. And what's a typical day in Freehold look like for Verdi, for a Sun Empire expat with no real direction in life?
I think she likes to go sit quietly in a park and just sort of be like, this is nice. This is wow. Like, I'm not like, she probably does, you know, her usual like morning training, and then she like goes and sits, and it's like, you know, when someone has been told their entire life, like they have always had to answer to someone like, hey, I'm going out to dinner, like I'll be back so and so. Like, she doesn't have anyone to do that anymore. So she's just like, she'll like turn around and be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go walk over there, and there's no one there. She's just like instinctually, she's like, I don't know, I could just sit here. I think I'll just sit here. Just sits down and like looks at like the birds and the like trees and just green things, and it's just like, wow, very simple pleasures in life right now.
That's fantastic. It's very like fourth act of the Shawshank Redemption, you know, learning life again. I love it. And then finally, let's talk to Angela about Cordelia.
Hello. So Cordelia is an infamous. So she is such because she is a former guild member of an assassin's guild that was primarily focused in Freehold. She has a kind of perpetual goth aesthetic without necessarily trying to go for a goth aesthetic. She is normally wearing deep black leather armor with a kind of traveling cloak, dark kind of brown skin. But every now and then when she goes out, normally when trying to keep an eye out for Verdi, she has much more of a like blood red toned kind of outfit instead. But the perpetual goth aesthetic is in part because she kind of occasionally has this kind of wispy black fog and mist that trails behind her and around her every now and then, and it seems to always be like focused and clinging around like her arms and around spots where she keeps a pair of very like nice ornate kind of I think the best comparison I have for the coloration is like the space rock from Avatar: The Last Airbender's sword. It's that kind of, the space sword, but it's a pair of daggers, and the reason they're there is because one is supposed to bring shadow, the other one brings starlight, and when the two daggers are put together, they form a longer, it's still a short sword, but it's a blade that allegedly was said to be like a blade devoted to drinking souls. It does not actually do this, but it's just the kind of thing that everyone has had it's gained that reputation because it's been around her long enough that people are like, if she's there, she's going to kill you. And I'm like, no, I killed people before. I don't do that anymore. That was a job. That was my day job. Now it's just more like part-time or on commission kind of work instead. And yeah, that's Cordelia Blackrose. That's kind of her general aesthetic and way of moving about most spaces as well.
And if you could briefly let us know what is it that drove Cordelia away from the Guild of Assassins?
Well, it was working for a good amount of time. Pay was decent. Things were going pretty nicely. You know, I had murder scheduled for a whole like set period. The next quarter or two was looking really nice, and then you do the one thing you're not supposed to do when you're in a guild, and you fall for someone who is a potential target.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide not to go for them. And then, of course, because the guild likes to keep things in balance, someone else had to die, which when that person who died is a close loved one of the person you were trying to not kill, it kind of ruins the relationship very quickly.
Really sours it.
It's kind of hard to continue a relationship when you have the, how are you doing, honey? Oh, I'm fine. Yeah. Not like my grandfather who's dead now because of you. It's kind of ruins most morning conversations.
Sure does. And I do believe, does Cordelia's sword have personality?
Yes, it does. It's part of the reason that people associate the whole drinking of souls thing is that people would say that there is a voice that was attached to when these two daggers are put together to make this soul drinking blade. It's nothing even remotely that glamorous. It's just a voice that's just always there, always like tempting. It's a voice of seduction for terrible, terrible things.
It'd just be easier to do things the old way.
Do you
Right.
understand how much paperwork goes into guild stuff when someone dies? I don't want more of that in my life. I have to watch over that one and another person. And the other one I actually like. So
Invoicing and expense reports and, all of that, right? The paperwork. Well, now that we have our fantastic characters, all rationed. I was going to say rationed. That's not the right word. Great descriptions of our characters. We find ourselves inside a little potion and divination shop down in the Undercity, specifically in an area called the Sprawling Market, by the name of the Here and Beyond. Whose owner and proprietor, or I guess that doesn't mean the same thing. Proprietor one Nori is sitting with her pals, Verdi, Hermione, when another acquaintance here by the name of Cordelia comes in. Cordelia, I believe you have some news for everyone. A certain invitation has been extended recently.
yeah, I think she walks into the shop and it's Nori's shop, correct? Nori, you're the one who's running this. May I ask what is interior, or what's a vibe? If not a full layout, what's the vibe?
The vibe is the vibe is super cluttered, messy, dark. It probably smells like different incenses and things like that. And there's a lot of just strange things everywhere. There's like bottles and concoctions and potions and books, and it's like it looks chaotic, but I know where everything is.
It's organized
absolute chaos.
Organized chaos, though.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I think there's a usual, like, almost like it's the equivalent of like a dance routine almost, in the kinds of steps that Cordelia takes to move through this space, because she could take the usual route, but she still has reflexes of being in the guild where she's just like here. She's literally standing on top of one stack of books at one point, drops down there.
I would love to imagine that Verdi is thinking that this is a normal way that someone enters the shop and tries to mimic Cordelia, but has little coordination. It's just like, sorry. I hope that wasn't important.
Your stuff is crashing down.
Yeah, like bull in a porcelain shop, sort of like.
I imagine in response to that, there's also a reflex from Cordelia to have the like first live action Spider-Man cafeteria scene thing where he catches all the things on the cafeteria tray with the books, just because she knows Nori likes this. But she comes in, she like leans over. She's 6'6", by the way. She leans over a stack of one of the books. I never make short ladies. She says hi to Hermione, who's probably stuck in a corner over there.
Mhm.
She hands a thing back to Verdi that was probably like a hairpin or something that Cordelia saw someone try and take from Verdi and gives it back.
Oh
It's
man,
like-
I lost this. Oh, that's how'd you find this?
I have many friends. They don't know I'm their friend yet. They will.
Oh.
At least if they do anything to you. Anyways, so I have news for everyone. Also, hello, Nori. Always a pleasure to see you.
Hello. What kind of news do you have?
So Cruz. We have an invitation for fun.
Like fun?
Like we have to leave the shop kind of fun.
But the shop is so fun.
There's also more fun out there. I have a friend. She's absolutely delightful. She's been through a couple of different planes of existence. A lot of stories from all of that. Absolutely delightful. I think we used to have a fling. Wait, did we have a fling? Yes, we did have a fling. Anyways,
Mhm.
my friend Andrea actually has a little thing happening over on Miguel for correction. It's like just a cruise ship sort of like celebration adjacent kind of thing, correct?
So yeah, the event in question, which was, I'm sorry, now I'm skimming my notes for it's Andrea. What was
Ramos, I think.
Ramos? Thank you, Andrea Ramos, captain of the Lady Steel Wind, a former I don't know if galleon is the right word, large ship, formerly in service of Thunder Keep, a dwarven stronghold to the far north, long thought lost after a calamity that beset poor Thunderport, the faring part, not faring. There's the seaport of the settlement of Thunderport, of Thunderkeep. Blah blah blah, missing forever. Blah blah blah. Showed up in Freehold, and it's just sort of changed hands here and there over the years, and now it does belong to Captain Ramos, who is currently employing it as a sort of docked event space. You know, you come down to the ports right near the sunken city, come aboard. It's very fancy, very like, you know, only some of the most exclusive, but also like hush hush parties happen there because there is something of a seedy element at times on the clientele, right? Captain Ramos does not, discriminate. Paycheck's a paycheck, as it were.
Yes. So I think she will relay all of that info. She will do as when one of my previous players gave me a helpful way of saying this. She will control copy plot info and paste it over.
Copy pasta.
Copy pasta all of that over to the group.
Best.
And also say, so she'll turn towards Nori and she'll be like, there are unfortunately probably going to be a lot of, like, she raises her hand really high, which means she's like raising it to like 7 or 8 feet up in the air because of how tall she is. She's like,
fantastic.
Those folks, you know what I mean?
But the mention of planes, you said that there was your friend had been to a lot of different planes. That's that could be worthwhile and interesting, despite the you know.
All people?
Sorry, there are other planes of existence.
Tall people are great. Nothing. The tall
Very
people are
tall planes
wonderful.
of existence?
Oh, the
she sees you like She sees you struggling with Nori Cordelia sees you struggling with like names for planes, and she as if on cue like lifts up a book from a random stack that's detailed like numerology and dissertation on the various planes of existence and gives you like a table of contents of names.
She just like flips it and she's just like, oh, you know, like the water plane and the airplane and the fire plane and the dark
Screams.
plane, and she's just like listing them off. And yeah.
There's also the cotton candy plane, but we don't speak of that one.
Very fluffy.
They're a biplane?
Pan planes, pardon. It's treated as the more proper term, according to some people, though not always accurate. It's a joke for the 3 or 4 bi people who've been told to call themselves pan.
I'm sure that panned over really well with them.
I don't know. It flew over my head.
On the planes.
We're just winging it here. This is not.
Oh my
this
gosh.
is not scripted.
I'm sorry.
I will not live through this one.
Please do not apologize. This is all fantastic.
This is the pandemonium right now. Getting started. We're on a train, although we're about planes right now. We're on the pun plane. Oh my god, that's one. It's in the appendices.
Should we explain this more?
Okay. Fun fact: this one shot almost took place on a train, but
There would have
that
been
was
part 2. No, I'm just kidding.
that was a whole other thing that got scrapped. But yes, so you've all been invited to come. You know, is it bump shoulders, rub shoulders? I never really.
Rub
sure.
shoulders.
I don't think anyone should be getting so close that their shoulders are touching right now. It's still a
If they're
pandemic.
super tall,
But
I don't know
anyway.
if that'll happen anyway.
But it's not in Freehold. There's no pandemic there. Rub shoulders with, you know, some very fancy people at a very fancy party, which is itself a watch party, I guess you could say, for the last leg of the Freehold Fiasco. There is rumor that there's a very ancient and very sought after magical relic offered up as the prize to the sponsor of the winning racer of this year's fiasco. So a lot of things at stake. And yeah, Captain Ramos happens to be, you know, hosting the whole dang thing and is using her power of this is my ship to invite all her friends and say, come join the party.
Nice.
Is there any other reason to have a ship than to be like, yes, come
Party
to
on the
my
boat?
party?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think historically, no.
Yeah.
You know, we have never used boats for anything else.
Not a single thing.
As people, no.
Unless you're, who was it? I think her name was Ching Chi, who is just like the bampiest of women across all of history, who's
yeah.
literally so good as a pirate that I think it's like the Chinese military had to just be like, we pay you to stop bullying us.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We can't
She had
do
like her
this
own
anymore.
country technically for a while or something, or just like
she's there's god tier status and then there's her above god tier status. That's how good she was.
Yeah.
That is the other reason why you have a ship of any kind.
That's true. Is that you could just bully an entire like navy into being like, okay, we give up. Please stop embarrassing us quite so much.
Yeah.
Man, TikTok ruined my brain because the first thing that came into my mind was mother. Apologies, mother.
you know,
Yeah.
No, that's what other people have said to Andrea.
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes you just got to live your best pirate life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone else, you know, you've heard party on the boat. How's everyone think? What's Verdi feeling about this?
She finds it weird that she'd be rubbing other people's shoulders.
Thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
god. She's gonna walk up into the party like,
Yeah.
okay.
she's like, do I have to wear gloves? What gloves are appropriate? All I have are my
None of
sword
them.
gripping gloves. Like,
I mean, I think they would give you a good grip on other people's shoulders. I don't see the problem with that.
it's true. It's true, but are they fancy enough? Do I need to cover more of my skin or less?
What color are Verity's sword gloves?
I imagine just like a plain leather, like practical. Okay. They're practical.
Yeah. Very nice. Cool.
Yeah.
It's what they had around in this, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's got a few extra stitches in it from like wear hair. Definitely like oh, it tore. I'm just gonna the stitching is questionable at best. It holds it together.
Yeah. No, standard issue around the Sun Empire these days is like what they have around. They're like, oh, you need gloves? Are you sure? Kind of thing, you know. Yeah. What would Verity be wearing to a fancy affair like this?
Her instinct would probably be to wear like her like armor regalia, because that's the nicest thing that she owns.
Sure.
It's her armor.
I love that.
How about Hermione? Does Hermione have like a dress shell that she would wear to something like this?
Something
for the occasion.
Yeah, she probably would go with she definitely has sort of a little bit of a shell sort of for her hair at the very least, and is in sort of a weird, like it's like a pantsuit that's also like a cape coming down the back of like the jacket top, as if it's like the back of a dress. So you're kind of like, I don't know if this is a pantsuit, if this is a dress, if that's a cloak. It's a little bit of everything. And since she heard that it was a watch party, she's absolutely wearing like a wristwatch. She has a pocket watch. There might be like a bit of like she's turned a clock into like a nice little like shoulder sort of brooch sort of thing.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, it's very like Flava Flav, but like for like, you know, just on one shoulder.
But for the modern crab.
Yeah, it's for the modern crab. It's all very shiny.
It's such a timeless outfit.
Get out of here.
No,
That's
you
fantastic.
didn't.
How many of these?
It's a period piece if it's gold cloth.
You just have to take a second look.
Sometimes people don't agree with the fashion choice, but you know it comes in cycles. Like it
really does. A broken clock is always right at least twice, and once every 2 decades or something. I don't know.
I think it's more often, but
yeah.
How many of those are like foraged or found items? It's like I'm wondering how many are actually like functional clocks or watches still, or how many are just like
one's a bit of fast fashion. I think that's why somebody discarded it. It's just not
quite. That's fair. About Nori.
Oh my gosh, she's like less concerned with what to wear, and she's more like, okay, like kind of talking herself up to like, okay, you can go to this party and deal with these people, and like it'll be worth it. Like she's doesn't really have anything like too fancy. She's like very like practical, comfy, very like dark, all black, and she's just like, okay, like she's more concerned with that and like, than like what she's going to wear. She's just like, okay, like this will be fine. But she has like a necklace that's like in like been kept through their family, and she just like pulls it out of her shirt, like, okay, like this will do. Like, look it, I'm wearing a jewelry. She's just like not very like fashionably aware, I guess you would say. So she's like, yeah, this should do. But she sees like all the clocks, and then she sees like the armor, and she's just like, oh shoot. but it's like a thought that only lasts a moment where she's like, oh shoot, and then she's like, I know it's fine.
Surely I'm not underdressed.
Yeah, surely, like it's fine. Like in her mind, she's like, even if I were to wear like the greatest thing, like they're still gonna suck, and it's like the it's like it's not gonna, like, people are still gonna find me weird or strange, or but she's like, I don't really care. She's kind of like that. So she's like, what I wear isn't going to change, like how people perceive me. So she's like, I'm just going to do me. So, but she makes an effort by pulling out her necklace. She's like, bam, look at jewelry. I put earrings on.
is Nori, as Nori's doing this, would she be like looking in a mirror, or did it just kind of like make sure everything's looking good? Or
she's kind of like looking down. She's kind of like, okay, yeah, looks good. And she kind of like throws some earrings in. Like usually, like I'll say she has like shorter earrings, and she throws in like some like longer, weird dangly ones. Some have like, bones or something. And like maybe like fish bones or something. She's like, okay, yeah. Like
it's a nautical party after all.
Yeah, she's like, we're doing it. And she kind of like looks to the rest of the group and is just like, okay, yeah. Like yeah.
This is great.
2 thumbs up from Hermione.
Yeah.
Look at you. You dressed up. So pretty.
I did. I I thought I should, do the fancy thing or something.
And finally, what about Cordelia? She dressing up in all, or just is it still the standard?
She is. She's very much.
Is it the red outfit?
So I've been thinking about this the entire time while other folks have been doing their outfits and such. So there's a tiny little snippet of, I think, one of the Wonder Woman trailers where she like has the sword right in between like the back of her dress, like keeping it there.
Okay. Yeah.
So I imagine that her outfit is a combination of 2 things. It's essentially she has the 2 daggers put together with a scabbard that is sort of a central piece in the back around which all of the dress is sort of tied around and like sort of cinched against her back so it stays there tightly and is holding up all of it. It's strapless and kind of asymmetrical in the cut going across downward. It is a mix of blood red and aquamarine, but one of the kind of unique details of it is that she has the sword slightly lifted out, and because of that she has the mist going behind her, but she has put like a slight veil behind her so it looks almost like a wedding train going all around her, except like misty black and foggy.
My word, that's fantastic.
You just hear her grumbling, I suppose years of knowing how to socialize with people helps on some occasions. She has like a very exasperated kind of tone, but she's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it well because I don't do anything half-assed. And she like walks over, and if Nori's okay with it, she's like adds like a pin to your hair, and it's like, if you put it up like this, you look even better.
She totally like appreciates that. She's like, oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Do you think it matches with my earrings and it's good, right?
She if you're okay with this, it's a very like soft and kind of like tender like caress around like the hair and like side of the face, and like holds you close and is like, Nori, you are possibly one of easily the most attractive people I know. You will look fine however you choose to go, more because you're always yourself. And if anyone says otherwise, I will kill them. I won't actually, but for you, I will consider it.
Thank you, Cordelia. I appreciate it. She genuinely like appreciates it. She's like not scared about the like the whole like I'll kill them. She's like, okay, yeah, this is fine.
Fantastic. Sounds like we're all gussied up and ready to go. Buddy, sorry, my cat is trying to drink my water. It's gonna end poorly.
I love
As it
them.
always-
Enjoying
always
just seeing
does.
you like paying attention, but also like side swiping the cat out of frame every so often. Like, yeah, no.
Trying to knock my monitor over. It's a whole thing. Not on
With
purpose.
his
It's
monitor.
his little head. He does the rub bit with his head thing, but then
Oh.
he is a 20-pound boy. And his monitor is not.
20 pounds?
Mhm.
Chonk.
Dude,
He
my
is-
Shiba Inu is 20 pounds.
He's a big cat. DJ Roomba, turn it up. DJ Roomba's his name. Is it? I already forgot pronunciation. Nori Momo, you're gonna have to. Emil or Emil? Or
Oh,
neither.
Emil?
I was way off. Emil
It's
okay. Is also here. You know, nice green hair, tall, lanky
Yeah.
boy. It's like, oh yes, I'll watch the shop while you're gone. Sounds like y'all are having a lot of fun tonight. I thought we were gonna.
Well, she looks like so torn. She's just like, oh shit. Like, she's like, and kind of looks over to Cordelia with like, and she's kind of like to Cordelia, like she's on her tippy toes because she's small. She's like 5 foot nothing. She's just like
Nothing.
Oh no, that I'm 1.5 feet taller than you. Jesus Christ. I have to like that means the caress is more of a like me bending down significantly, or I just have to be like all limbs. in order
lifts
to
the
do
face, lifts me up by my face.
Oh no, I just realized the other variation of that, if it goes in a different direction, is just the picture of the gal holding up the other gal against the wall. It's just that. Which is fine with me. It's fine with me.
I feel like
Oh
that
my
has
gosh.
happened at least once of like, yes.
That's
How do you
great.
talk to someone shorter than you? No. Yes.
Yes.
You were saying before.
Yeah, so I could close the shop tonight. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna really come here. Do you think perhaps maybe Emil could possibly maybe join us if it's okay? But if it's not, I totally get it. But yeah, maybe he would maybe enjoy something like that. He's a bit more he doesn't get out much, and she's just like stumbling over her words.
She like gives a very like soft like pet on the head, like just the softest like and then like on your shoulder, and then it's just like then she turns like just her head in the direction of Emil and is like, do you currently have any bounties requesting your soon to be extermination or anything of the sort?
Bounties? No, ma'am. Emil's like always been maybe a little afraid of Cordelia, but too polite
Aw.
to like express it in anything but like just over politeness. One
That's to be expected.
one time my boyfriend Bobby didn't return a book to the library, so we do owe them about 5 copper, but if I reckon that's not what you mean.
God, all of you are precious, and if anyone hurts you, I will kill them myself. She just says all that very quickly underneath her breath, and she's like, "You're fine. If you would like to come along, you can. If it would make Nori happy, then by all means, please come along."
She like her like dark face is like looks at the Cordelia with like she's got like sparkly eyes, like thank you. Like
One parent, 4 children. One parent, 4 children.
This to myself again. Every group.
Maps, this is my time on the booze cruise.
Oh my god, we are all the children that need to be on toddler leashes. Like,
Oh boy. So yeah, Emil quickly does one of these, right, that I've been doing all night.
Yeah.
Just finds a some sort of little concoction to like smooth out his green hair and just sort of like, you know, like smushes down the shirt as much as possible. It's like I only own the one vest, so I figure I'm ready to go. You know.
Hermione hands him a watch.
Yes.
He's not sure at first because he's you know he's seen watches on people in the above ground in the over. Well, it's not really, they don't call it the over city, you know, but and it's clearly like struggles with it for a minute, but eventually figures it out and has it on. Is very proud, like very like.
We're in the Undercity, right?
Currently, yes.
Okay, because I was in my head for some reason I categorized as the top and the bottom city, and those are I feel like that would give a very different connotation to the whole situation.
Yeah, none of us picked
We're
that
just
rating
trying to
in
switch
the
it up a
safety
little.
tools. So
Darby, I see you.
good. It was good. But yeah, you all depart. I'm assuming let's want to just hang out here all night and skip the party. It turns into a very like introvert session, and so it's like, oh, we talk about going to the party for 2 hours, and then it just gets too late.
And we just hang out and just talk and like
One pulls out Catan. It's like a whole thing.
we like sit and read books next to each other.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, you make your way through, and with the sprawling market, as it is called, is alive with activity. Even at this hour of the evening, it being the Undercity, there's never really any distinction of day or night down here, and it's all usually for the best, since it is inhabited by both nocturnal, diurnal, peoples, and some that are somewhere in between. The entire place itself is sort of has grown out of the cave networks and old like ruins that have remained of the old city before the big sink. So there are many carvings, there are many like still stone structures and stuff that are pretty good that are used for some of the larger markets and residences and stuff. But here in the sprawling market, most everything is been made of materials that have been brought down, whether they be additional stone, wood, etc. But much like the rest of the underground, there is a shining network of mycelium that grows along the walls in this sort of like web light pattern and illuminates everything in this sort of like light that changes color in soft waves. Like it goes from this shining kind of deep blue to a purple to a pink, and then sort of back around again in this sort of pattern. Another benefit of the mycelium, some call them the first inhabitants of the city, even before the old city here existed, is it creates this sort of aerosol fungal network with the spores and stuff, to where everyone in the Undercity speaks a common language that is absorbed through the breath. You breathe it in. When you come down here and when you speak out, you're speaking through the spores who speak to each other and then project your words in the under language. And so you can literally, as you walk, you see the words as they escape people, these sort of small, tiny, only see them if you look for them kind of thing, right? Kind of little sparks come as like this sort of like little network of communication comes out and spreads, and you see these little patterns of web. And the same happens as you also. It's like when you see your breath on a cold day, but with just like little dancing lights in there as everyone is just like speaking in harmony. You don't go too far before you see a figure who is familiar to Nori. You see someone in the livery of the city constables of Freehold, walking with a bit of not a swagger, but almost stutter. Maybe someone who's not perhaps in their full capacities, but still wielding the armament of choice of the city constables, of the constabulary, which is a thunderstick. It looks like a big wooden, tuning fork, right? With many like runes and carvings in it that produce a sort of electrical effect when used. You see this figure, Sigur Ballard. It looks to be, for lack of a better term, harassing some youths here of the Undercity. And Nori would know that Ballard, being a constable of one of the nicer parts of the city, doesn't really have any authority down here. But the authority he doesn't have, he yields anyway.
Yeah.
Essentially just petty harassment sort of things.
Is he currently harassing young ones?
He seems to be just like looking at them and not, like very like talking at them and over them. You know what I mean? He keeps patting the thunderstick at his waist. And he definitely has a sort of like to him.
I think his very existence bothers us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Verity's got a hand on her big old sword.
Mm-hmm.
Just there.
Hermione clocked him as soon as she saw him. She's like,
Yeah, I feel like with like Nori knowing like that this guy is bad, she's definitely told the rest of the group like, hey, the unseen have told me about this guy. Like, he's not good. Like, he's doing bad stuff.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was it.
No, and even as you say, think that a sort of figure emerges to you alone from the shadows, right? It sort of seems like it's piggybacking off of Cordelia's, whole shadow veil cape situation, almost like emerging from it. But it's a figure that would be familiar to you, one that's appeared to you before. Sort of goblin-esque, but more ethereal, more ghostly. One of the unseen who's appeared to you, giving you their name, Barnabas. Claims to be mayor of the Undercity, but can't be that if you're not alive.
Yeah.
And it sort of like crooks this little goblin hand and points at Sigur and goes, "There he is again. He's ruining this place. Look at him. Bad one." And then as soon as "bad one" is said, just sort of like you hear it echo a couple of times, and just the shadow, the ghost oops away, and then just sort of like this sort of scent of like a campfire when it's just been put out, right? It sort of fills the air.
Yeah. She's like, she kind of like, I guess we probably see this like as we're walking and stuff. And she kind of like comes, like, she's like, it kind of really bothers her that, she's known about this and this is being like particularly pointed out at this moment. And kind of makes her feel like she wants to do something about it. And being dressed up and being amongst her friends and like when you're feeling yourself, you just you feel like extra powerful. And she's just like, yeah, we're like, she's just like, she wants to do something about it basically. So yeah, she's gonna like kind of stop, and she kind of like tugs at Cordelia's like clothes, and she's just like motions to the guy, and she's just like, we should maybe we should do something about this. We can't, it's it bothering me to know that someone like this is going around unchecked, I guess you could say. He's definitely bad, terrible, disgusting. It's the worst.
Is it a killable offense?
We could just beat him up. That would be really fun.
It's really fun.
Down a very long hole, and then we didn't kill him in the closet.
Question. Is there like I guess could I commune with the unseen to kind of seek guidance in like, how bad is this guy? Like, I know he's bad, like I can feel it, but she feels like, as Cordelia asks that, at first she's just like, yeah, I think he is that bad, but she's like, I want to be sure. So I guess if it's possible, if I could commune with the unseen and like,
yeah, the energies are strong right now for that, especially since Barnabas has just shown himself to you. There's something, right? There's a bit of a pierce in the veil, as it were. So let's go ahead and let's roll for that. So give me a 2d6 and you add your spirit to that.
Okay. Ooh, that is a 6 and a 2 and another 2. That is a 10.
Fantastic. So you get to pick 2 off of your unseen, or commune with the unseen play. So it sounds like you're trying to, one of these, that I'm not going to force you into this or anything. Sounds like one of the things you're trying to do is learn something important from them.
Yeah, definitely.
So like off the bat, you would pick that, and you could possibly, I say possibly, you get to pick one of the others off that list as well.
Okay, so I definitely want to learn something important from them in regards to what I just mentioned earlier. And I would also like to ask about the history of the hairpin which Cordelia placed upon me, because she's like, I'm curious, like I want to know that one thing, but like don't want to like waste being able to ask the unseen. So let's satisfy the curiosity. And what's the history behind this trinket? Like she's just like she's like dying to know. Like she's just like, there's got to be like so much history. Like Cordelia's been all over the place. Like there's probably some cool story here. Like yeah.
Indeed, Cordelia, is there a cool story behind that hairpin?
Yes, actually, it is. It's called a lunar pin. That the shape of it is the best reference I have. Really, only makes sense if you've played the game. Is there's a particular type of lunar, I think it's called lunar tear, lunar flower from Near Automata that grows in a garden scene that's in that game, where it looks sort of almost like a corsage, but more appropriate for a hairpin. That only blooms, so it only radiates on specific nights, of which I'm going to say this is one of those nights when the event was happening that it was going to bloom. It belongs to it's one of the last mementos that she has from the person who she fell for before all the shit hit the fan
Oh,
with
shit.
the guild.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think you can tell because there's probably an inscription on there that it looks like someone has tried to like hastily like scar off, but
Oh
you can
no.
but because like I'm trying to think of what would be the way that you would tell like this is a very significant or that kind of info.
Yeah.
And Cordelia's probably only mentioned in passing that like a girl will get you into falling for a girl will get you into more trouble than anything else in life.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably see the inscription, something to the effect of, "To whom my heart blooms only for you."
Dang. She's just like, dang.
Appropriate,
So I
yeah,
guess like so the
reaction.
unseen, like so she communes with the unseen and like that. So I guess they like divulge this to her is how that goes down, yeah, with the communing with them.
They just feel awkward. They're like, "Oh God, are we opening up a teenage girl's like diary with
Yeah.
doing this?" That's the vibe of the community. It's supposed to be spooky and dark, and you're like, "Oh God, oh she really has a crush on this guy and Bobby from like Homeroom too." And like,
It's a short list.
All right. Nori's just like, oh, like, okay. She's just like, I imagine when she like, yeah, when she communes, she's just like, she's kind of like closes her eyes, but she's still like reacting to things. She's just like, oh, okay, wow, like, yeah. And then so what am I able to find out about this guy? Is he how bad is he?
So as you open your eyes, you're just you see these visions, right, of the recent history of this hairpin and whatnot, just its whole story. But as you reopen them, another shade has appeared. This time, sort of, it's like when like a brick wall or a stone wall condensates, and it's like you say it's sweating.
Yeah,
it's sort of like this dark sweat begins to pool on the wall behind the two youths who are being harassed, and as it pulls out slowly, it kind of blobs and then forms into a figure of a hunched old woman. You know her name without knowing her name, you know what I mean? In life, she was known around the Undercity as Sour Jenny. And she points a finger and she says, "Those are my grandchildren. They are. They're angels. Never done nothing wrong." And points at one. Says, "That's Walt Jr. He's a good lad. He doesn't deserve this." As she says this, Sigur sort of like shoves Walter's shoulder and like kind of pushes back on the wall there. "That's my granddaughter Jimmy. Talented cellist. Sweetest voice you've ever heard too. This man's bad." And as at that, she sort of like, you could tell like it's all very like as Sour Jenny is telling you, you can tell this is also very like a lot of bark, no bite going on with Sigur. He's harassing. He's sort of like he's being loud. But that's like the first time you've seen him actually reach out,
like put hands on somebody.
Right. And even then it was like sort of like a little thing, but his reputation, and even you get this sort of sense from Jenny that he's very just blustery, right? It's like this, she sort of like turns around to where she's standing next to you now, but looking at him. And she's a coward.
Thank you. She looks up to Cordelia and Okay, perhaps not kill, but maybe just send a message. It seems he's truly a coward.
Let's try and enjoy ourselves, all of us, without hurting him yet. I will not put it out of consideration, though. But let's try and enjoy why we were invited here. Just for a bit.
Do you think we could at least get him off those two kids? I've not seen him put his hands on somebody like that before. Though he does seem strangely scared. Oh, it's weird.
Mm-hmm. And I want to just real quick clarify also, when I say I have what do I call it? Old man's perspective. When I say kids, they're like late teens,
okay.
early 20.
Oh,
Still
okay. Okay.
Everyone's a youth to me.
Still
okay.
I
babies.
apologize.
Still
Yeah.
babies.
Thank you. Yeah, still babies.
Still babies,
Exactly.
but okay.
Not
Exactly.
babies.
I was like over here thinking
babies.
like
Mhm.
baby
6-year-olds.
dude.
He's
I'm
pushing somebody. He's pushing a toddler that's like, into the wall. Like,
6-year-old, like, what are you doing, child?
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this guy's beating up 6-year-olds. I'm about to stomp him.
I mean, Verity's always ready to be like,
Mhm.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
no.
maybe you could just say something scary to him, or you're you can be imposing, and I say that with like nothing but respect, and not anything bad, but you can be very imposing. It's a good thing, maybe we could do that and just kind of spook him off.
Here, the simplest thing that'll scare off a weak man will be just a woman who enjoys herself without any desire to please his attention. So I think let's go and enjoy ourselves for a little bit.
Sorry.
yeah.
She just was like, yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's an element though
Mhm.
where she's like, why don't you and Carr go and introduce yourselves to different people, and why don't Verdi and I go and just introduce ourselves to him? Verdi, I feel like we should talk a little bit more about how hard you can hit with that sword of yours. Just
Oh yeah.
in his area, in his vicinity.
I
Do you
like to
wanna
imagine
take
this is
Lady
like a
Pom Poms with you, because Lady Pom Poms is very, very. I've been holding her back. I'm just saying.
I love Lady Pom. I also like to imagine Verity's sword is like a big great sword. So she's just like,
Yes. Is it like anime style, like big, like
you ever see that anime Claymore? It's
Yes.
just like those big, like swords, just
I'm just imagining guts like Berserker.
Oh.
Like Berserk. So the big ones is like literally called the Dragon Slayer sword he's wielding with like one hand on his shoulder.
That's Verity right now. Verity's just like casually just swinging, just like twirling it a little bit, like
There's some passerbys that have to kind of like really
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
around you, like whoa.
Verity's
I will-
area of effect spell is just her sword range.
Oh my gosh.
awfully brave actions for a constable within sword spell range. I cast delete.
Fantastic.
He's smitten with two people at once. I think you can.
I believe you can be as smitten as you like to be. Are we? Is that happening?
So good.
It's me to Verity and Nori.
Absolutely. So
Take a string
let's-
on me, for Christ's sake. Christ.
So I believe so. You also get to. So they each get to take a string on you.
Yeah.
And now you get to answer your question in the Truths of Heart and Blade section of your playbook. Oh, I'm so excited. Which is, and I'm sure you can find it, but
Wait, does that mean that they've gotten a string or we get a string? I'm sorry.
You get a string on Cordelia, as
You
does
both get a
Verdi.
string on me.
So let's say with Nori first, it looks like your question is, why do you think they would be wrong to forgive you? And now this is, if we recall, part of your playbook is the infamous, is you do have something of a villainous past, that past being your history and whatnot with the Guild of Assassins. It's capital T, TM at the end. They're the main one, right? Specifically, Scranton, I mean Freehold branch. So I believe a question that we established, like thing that they would need to forgive you for would be just your general history with them. So why would, if Nori were to forgive you for that, why would Nori be wrong for it?
Because I got the person, because bad things have happened to the person who just got the pin I just gave her.
Oh man.
Bad things happen to people I care about, which is why she's trying to resist all impulses at every given moment.
And so same with Verdi. Verdi, you also have a string now on Cordelia, but why would Verdi be wrong to forgive you for your past?
She doesn't deserve to see that much bloodshed.
Okay, so now that we're smitten with these two and we have strings are given, how do Cordelia and Verdi approach Sigur Ballard?
I will let Verdi take this because I've had a lot of focus. I let Verdi lead on this one.
Verdi, like, sword, just like, God, how do I want to do this? You like Pyramid Head just dragging the sword behind, just scraping the sword and just like leans this like arm around the shoulders, like, hey, buddy.
Who's that?
Hey.
Oh.
I don't know how tall Verdi is, but I just want her to be taller than this man.
Then taller than this man she is.
Just like, hey there, little buddy.
Little buddy.
What's happening here? So you playing tag with these kids, or do you have another reasonable excuse that you put your hands on a smaller person than you?
He looks over, as you're like doing this, it's like startle at first, like, and then you can tell as he looks over at you, it doesn't take but just the general like waft of that like bitter beer breath coming your way that this dude's a little tipsy,
sauce, the man,
little tipsy whipsy, yeah, a little sampling of the stumble sauce, as they say.
Yes.
I had an old college professor who would tell us, "Oh yeah, a little too much of the stumble sauce last night. I'll get your papers graded next week." Like, no shame.
Oh my god.
He would be like, "Oh yeah, my wife's book club came over and we just drank vodka." I'm like, sir, I am paying for an education. Anyway, sorry.
Sir, next time bring me some of the vodka.
I've never heard stumbly sauce before in my life.
Like, next time, just don't tell us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Don't tell the class if you're not prepared to share. Like,
I did, it was after that I decided to take an independent study with him. I still don't know why I did. But anyway. You can tell, yeah, Sigur is a little, he sees, and it takes like a second, but there's recognition there. He says, well, it's your regalia, right? He's like, a sunblade. Well, it's good to see another figure of authority down here in the lawless, sprawling market. These punks here bumped into me and they broke my watch. And he presents this like broken, like shattered glass on his timepiece. It's like, don't run now, do it.
It's still right twice a day.
Oh,
You hear
this-
from Hermione.
I feel like me and Hermione, like we're away, but we're like
Just like watching.
we're still watching.
You're heckling.
Can Verdi go, oh, that watch? Just like snap it off of his wrist and just crunch it in her hand. Just this watch? Just sprinkle the bits.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Just crushes it, right? It's you can feel even through your sword gloves, right?
Uh-huh.
The low quality of the timepiece, because it almost just turns to ash in your hand. Right? It's just like
Just I'll sprinkle it on his head like this. Like
but he is like a little too startled.
looks like I broke
Anything.
it. Here, my friend gave me these things. I don't really know what they're for. Just holding up like coins, just like flicks a couple. I think that'll be enough. I don't know. It seemed pretty poor quality.
He stutters a bit. I said, but and just it's that moment he starts to like, the big picture starting to come in his head, right? He sees the very large sword that you were carrying, and then kind of clocks, if you will, Cordelia for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and just sees this, immaculate veil of wisp and shadow, and just looks at his feeble, thunder stick. Whatever. I gotta think of a different name for that. That's not like borderline obscene. It's good in my head, and I'm saying it aloud, and I'm like,
Why you have to utter it into the world occasionally as the other check.
Manifesting.
Right.
it.
No, I have regrets.
Is Chrysler LeBaron? No, that's a horrible name too. It doesn't even fit. It's a horrible name for Taser.
His
Anyway,
whack is bonkers.
that's it. That's right. And then just looks again, and doesn't even bother picking up the coins that have just bounced off his face.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Evening, ladies," and then just walks away.
Hope it's an early evening for you, Sigur.
Yeah. You should take a bath. You kind of smell.
We are bullies right now. But
Hey, listen.
justified.
We're bullying the bully. Does that
It's justified.
It's justified.
I didn't say it was wrong. I'm just saying we are bullies right now, but I am okay with this.
And I am loving every second of playing this strong himbo of a lady.
God. Oh my god. I feel like Nori, and she's been like watching with Hermione. She's like, oh my god, did you like every time like something happened, she was just like, what, did you see that? Like, oh my god. She's just like, yeah, she's just like been commentating like, oh my gosh. She's like, she's shook basically. She's like, whoa. Wow.
I ship it, and I would like to talk up Cordelia and
Oh,
a bit here.
Wait, what? Sorry, what? Wait, Smith, wait, what? I lost track. What just happened.
So one of my moves as a nature witch is that I ship it, and I want to make a match between two other people and talk up one to the other.
Oh, God. I forgot that was the thing you had.
I have the
It is.
power of love.
So we're talking Cordelia up to who? to Nori.
You know what? I feel like I'm gonna do it for Cordelia because it was her idea. I hope that I'm not reading Nori's interest wrong with it.
Got it. All right. So it looks like that's a heart roll for you. Oh.
I got a 3 and a 1.
4.
And plus 1 to that.
That's a 5 total.
That feels like experience.
So I'd say let me throw this out there. I see this going down as you have like a strong start, but it sort of maybe you lose steam halfway there, right? So it's like, look, so tough. Wow, great. Kind of like it's just sort of like you lose words maybe, or I mean, you welcome to take, like.
How bad am I failing this?
I mean, a six or under is just like it doesn't happen. So
I'm like, just look at them. I mean, look at Cordelia, and oh my goodness, Lady Pom Poms is right there and looking adorable too. Look at her. She's doing her best. She's very ferocious when she wants to be. What was I talking about?
That's perfect. And go ahead and you get to mark an
so
experience
good.
too for the under 6 roll. So don't forget that.
Oh, that's so good. At first she's like, yeah, Cordelia's pretty cool. And then she's like, sees Verdi, she's like, wow. And she's like, oh yeah, Lady Pom Pom. She's just like with everything happening, it's like it's a ride.
It goes from goth assassin, hot goth assassin, buff lady, otter.
Yeah.
That's the
Otter.
order.
Otter always wins. I forgot to ask, is Lady Pom Pom wearing anything fancy to this affair?
Lady Pom Pom does. So she got her name because she picked up 2 sea urchins and like smashed them together, and it looked like pom poms to Hermione. So like she does make her pom poms, but she kind of actually prefers like hard things that can like clunk together. So I feel like it's almost like weirdly she's got, but she can put on, if she wants, like castanets that can like clap if she wants, and have like little pom poms on the back of them. So they're like dual purpose, like noisemakers
so good.
and adorableness. But
Fantastic.
She gets to decide for herself if she wants them or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
So
You never ask me if the adorable animal is wearing something, because yes, they are. Always, eternally.
Shawi's wearing like a little vest.
little ethereal vest.
And it's like I've sewn like it's like black, but I've sewn little like stars and stuff into it.
Oh my
just,
god.
But it has
Like Hermione would have given him a pocket watch too.
Oh my god, yes. He would love that. And like it has like fringe on it too. So it kind of jingles like because it's got like beaded fringe on it. Yeah.
Our pet companions dressed better than the actual PCs in this outfit.
Mine is definitely dressed better than me.
And what's
It's just
great
like
is
Wonder Woman. You can't tell me anything.
Oh yeah.
that's very true. And as like a spirit companion, anything you give I'm sorry, what was your ghost raccoon's name again?
It's Shawi.
Anything given to Shawi also turns ethereal.
Oh my god.
Right. And just that pocket watch is now a ghosty watch. Like the vest is now but it's still the stars on the vest just twinkle every so often, right? It's like this nice little shine of light against the darkness of this shadow raccoon. The rest of your trip is uneventful. You come out of the sprawling market. You come up through the city of Freehold. There are sights and sounds aplenty, right? Tonight coincides with one of the last caravans, as they were called. Use a old tradition of Freehold, where the last time a caravan from was leaving the city before the selection, right? There's a big festival and the big farewell ceremony and stuff, but now it's been sort of like appropriated isn't the right word, but it's been sort of like used by many different caravan guilds and companies and things hold their own last caravan, right? So there's like at least 7 that going on this weekend. So it's sort of like, oh look, the last caravan of the Anura. Cool. See y'all in a month. It's become like a very like not routine festival, right? But it's like that one thing, like when your city's having the Irish Fest, like I'll catch it next time, kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're like there's this happens again in 5 years. I'll see it then.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. You make it to the docks. You're very close to the area of Freehold called the Sunken City, right? It's the submerged part of the island that has now been re-inhabited by many merfolk and other sea aquatic living peoples. You find your way to the ship, the Lady Steelwind, where she is docked, and she is a sight to behold. This evening, she's been transformed, and you see iconography and regalia and all these things that are drawing inspiration from a figure, not only from Freehold's history, but in fact, the history of the world. Some call her the First Witch. Some call her the Dark Mother. Others do not utter her name at all for fear that it will summon her shade or something worse. Her name is Jacqueline Hops. Throughout legend, she's been referred to as a sort of hair person, not hair like hair, but hair like rabbit, right? Dressed very smartly in this sort of green tweed jacket with a monocle and 2 deer antlers protruding from her forehead as well. Her likeness has been affixed to the sails. There are banners with it, etc. She's a figure that draws much respect and much fear in all of the lands, mainly because people don't know if she's real or not. And if she is, it's a terrifying sight to behold. You make your way to the gangplank. I think that's what it's called, right? The thing that goes up the ship. I ain't no ship parts, so I might just mix them up. Very large, about as tall, but much thicker, would say, as Cordelia. Half orc, not young lady, but quite older lady, is sort of serving as bouncer for this affair. She is herself bedecked in this dazzlingly white wolf's pelt. Right, with you've got the head here, the tail here. It's just like a whole wraparound shawl situation, and she has herself an enormous battle axe, strapped to her back as well, holding a clipboard. Looks at you as you approach. Name?
Cordelia Blackrose.
Looks, yeah. Cordelia and guests?
Yes, that would be all of us.
You and these Spring Bean over here with you too, pointing at Emil.
Yes, the Spring Bean is also with me.
He's just been sort of like this, like the whole time with Sigur. He's like, I'm not going to get involved. I don't want to. And I just said he's just been following very politely. As you all, are let in, little velvet rope. Is parted at whatnot. Just come on up. Just my apologies. Where are my manners? The name's Helga Hurdum. Don't make me show you why. Behave yourselves. She lets you up, and as we go on the boat, we're gonna take a quick break. Let everyone grab another glass of water, high five, etc., and we'll be back in. Call it a hot 10, probably. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Freehold Fiasco, part 1 of 20. That's not true. The Lost Relic.
This is now a
Subtitle, The
long
Lost Relic.
campaign.
Yeah. Now it's a long form fanfic of my own campaign. Epic poetry style, like the Iliad and that other one that was garbage.
Oh my God, yes.
Spoken tradition.
Okay, so do we have to go in prose now? Like, do we have to go for like a certain like iambic pentameter sort of?
That's the one. That's because that's the only one I know. I can't remember what the rhyme scheme is, but I remember the name. Anyway, don't tell me what it is because it doesn't matter. Before we left, we had just arrived at the Lady Steelwind, a sort of infamous ship around the docks, harbors, and ports of the city of Freehold. She is currently in service as a sort of luxury vessel, never leaves the dock, but she hosts many a soiree, some of the best in the city. You were greeted by your person du jour, Helga Herdum, dazzling white wolf's coat, little brooch that has like a battle axe with a wolf's face on it, to cinching it together. This dazzling, just sort of like wave of white hair, right? As well. She's a little older, but
Love that for her.
still got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she does.
I hope to be like that someday, to be perfectly honest. Not the specifics, but just the older and still got it thing.
Yeah.
One can dream.
Yeah.
As you kind of come up the gangplank, Hermione, you notice that Lady Pom Pom is getting somewhat, not nervous, right? But being that you're both aquatic in nature, should be more excited about this, but just seems very apprehensive. Like there's a lot of kind of pulling back, And Nori, as you step foot on the deck,
Mhm.
shall we communicate with you? You're familiar? Is there a language?
Yeah, I would definitely say we have communication.
Yeah, I would think so too.
I don't know if it's canon in the rules, but I would like to think that we most definitely communicate in one way or another.
My understanding is that as the game master, I am the rules. So
Yes, I love that for you.
but also all of this is the rules. I still try to go mostly that would say.
Yeah.
It's a lovely book.
Yeah.
Shawi sort of leans in, right, and is now sort of the mouthpiece for the unseen from you, and is sort of whispering from the skeletal side at you.
Mm-hmm.
It says this ship has much history. Much blood that's been shed here. And sort of lets out a sort of a large exhale. And Shawi does, you're sort of surrounded by a bit of a warmth, a comfort, when someone wraps a blanket around you to sort of maybe shield you from some bad news or something, right? Waylon the Betrayer walked this deck once. That would be a name familiar to those of you who are denizens of Freehold and maybe even beyond. Once known as one of the biggest heroes of the city, one of its most stalwart champions. He turned both his sword and his army against the city of Freehold once, centuries ago.
Oh wow!
His name has been cursed here ever since.
Wow!
Didn't see that one coming. Very strange turn of events.
And Shawi just says, "Be careful here," and sort of disappears again into just becomes this sort of mist.
Yeah. She upon getting that news, she kind of gets her group close to her, and she's just kind of we should perhaps be a little bit more careful than normal. Yeah. And then upon thinking to herself that like, oh, that might sound a little strange, she's like, oh, there's a lot of, those kind of, you know, those kind of people. So, we should be careful. She's trying to like brush it off. Like, I feel like the group knows like when she's referring to those kind of people, she's meaning like I feel like she would have shared with everyone that she has like a strong distaste or disdain for like the 1%ers, the rich folks up above who are like, yeah, she's expressed that like vehemently, basically, that she has like, they disgust her. She's just like those people. Like, yeah.
And as you explain that, you find yourself inundated by not only those people but their stylings, right? You are approached just in rapid. My pen. I have another one. In rapid succession by servers with trays of canapes, little finger sandwiches, appetizers, and glasses of champagne, etc. Right? Just one after the other, just like, may I offer you this? May I this, that, right? Does anyone grab anything? What do you put in your little mitts?
I think I grabbed some. Lady Pom Poms also grabbed some, like one of everything, while also like checking to see if like Nori actually wants any of what's on the trays, and otherwise like trying to play interference. And so I leave it up to Nori if they want emotional support from Lady Pom Poms.
Shielding her from the luxury.
Right. Yeah, she greatly appreciates that. She greatly appreciates the emotional support. She's just like, when the people with the trays and the servers and all that come, she's kind of like at first she's like, maybe this is a bad idea. But she's just like a deer in headlights, like.
I actually managed to roll a 9 on emotional support for that. So.
Fantastic. So yeah, as you're doing your best to run interference here, looks like, oh, this is great. Nori gets to choose one of these options here. Either clear a condition, which I don't believe we have any, so that may not be applicable. You can either mark XP, gain 1 forward, just a +1 to a general +1 in one of your next rolls, right? Or gain insight from me about an obstacle facing one of the two of you.
Oh, yeah. I'll gain insight on an obstacle facing Hermione. Aha. Because she's like, I feel like she's a very like, she's concerned with her, her friends and the people she cares about. So yeah, I feel like she's a very like aware, perceptive type of person. So yeah, definitely. She's like, wow, I appreciate this. And she's just like, yeah.
Hermione, what obstacles would you say you're facing right now?
Probably myself. Very oblivious to like, again, like Hermione wants to see everybody like just be happy and feel loved, and she wants that for herself, but is so focused on other people that she like, again, literally will ship other people, but not be looking for the connections herself. So she's just like in her own like oblivious, naive, sweethearted way is also looking out for everybody, but not with that emotional insight that Nori has. she's emotionally obliviously looking out for everybody else.
Yeah.
So Nori, that becomes apparent to you as you see Hermione doing, everything that she can to like keep this, keep this away from you. You see, she's helping everyone except for herself. And then there's a sort of a recall moment, I would say, where you now her ship it attempt It just becomes crystal clear. You're just like, oh, that's what she was trying to do. She's trying to like talk up Cordelia to me and then totally just,
Got lost in the sauce.
exactly. But now it's, the moment's gone, right? But now at least it's clear as day that, she's just got this very like,
but that Nori realizes that Hermione never knew it was a date.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I was gonna say, I was like, do I intuit that as well?
I think so, right?
Okay. She's just like, oh my gosh. Like, wow.
It's all coming together, right?
Yeah. She's just like, all the puzzle pieces fit now.
Wow, this hopeless lesbian over here.
Yeah. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Girls' love is tough. Oh man. It's great.
As you're coming to this realization, a voice sort of cuts through the noise. There's plenty of white noise here. There is a sort of small stage set up on one part of the deck. The whole deck has been transformed in this sort of ritzy garden party, for lack of a better term. There are plants that have been set up. There are long tables with grabbables, a macaron here, a thing there. But yes, everything's just this sort of lush, vibrant, flowery garden party vibe, which in the autumn in Freehold it's very juxtaposed, right? Like these things, this is not quite right, but they're doing their very best to pretend it's the springtime, which is fine. But all again with the iconography of this sort of like this silhouetted head, of the rabbit with the antlers and whatnot. But just this voice cuts through the noise, and you just hear why, Cordelia, while I live and breathe. And this figure in this like cutting red dress, wearing not a sword, but what looks to be almost like a wand, in a small little sheath like a sword would be, and with a bit of a curved handle, champagne flute in one hand, holding it inappropriately high. No, honestly, she wouldn't do that. She's holding it like doing the thing where she holds it from the base, like the two fingers on the base, just like as far down the stem as possible, but still like holding it perfectly balanced, right? Approaches you.
As all things should be.
And says, "What brings you to a sordid little affair like this? You recognize Cassandra Cortez, one of the most ruthless members of the Guild of Assassins that you've ever had the displeasure of working with." It's like, surely you can't be here to put a wager on, this little thing over here, and points, and there's this sort of glass case that has been set up on the far side of the ship in front of the captain's quarters. And it is displaying what looks like just sort of suspended within the glass itself, not sitting on anything, not resting on anything, just sort of hovering there. It's a singular deer's antler. I apologize. Anyone with any sort of, fair content warning, animal bits. I have a deer's antler, and I like to display it for dramatic effect. Something like this. Full disclosure, this was a gift. A friend of mine was visiting from Tennessee once, and they were like, I had to pull over on the side of the highway to pee, and I found this, and I thought you'd like it.
What?
Or like they were
That's
camping
crazy.
or something. They're like, we just found this. I'm like, do these just come off? Turns out they do.
Oh yeah, they shed them.
Yeah. And that was
They're really
That was
popping
almost-
off.
that was almost 20 years ago. They live in China now. Ain't life something?
That's great.
Anyways.
Life's something. It's kind of life where currently I have to see an ex-member of an Assassin's Guild.
Oh no.
Stands
Oh.
hands
Ex-coworker.
crossed, the champagne flute right here. You've got to dish. What brings you here?
I was gonna go with the well thought out course of action. I think I'm gonna go with the character action instead, which is, I think. Well, let me ask one quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna assume not good terms, yes, with said person.
Well, as any good former member of the Assassin's Guild, correct? I would think you would have kept tabs on certain individuals. The last you heard of Cassandra is that she resigned from the guild herself and went back into the fold, as it were, and is currently running the family business. His family, a long and storied mercenary company operating out, not in Freehold, but just outside of it. A lot of laws within the city, they don't really let them do what they do, but if they're just to the north in the really ritzy big estates that are technically outside of the city, one can do just about whatever one wants. Now, can't they? And that's actually, as she's like already gone to explaining what she does to your companions, and those are the words that are coming out of her mouth.
Verity's got like fistfuls of food in her mouth right now. Just like, oh, like, Cordelia, you want one? They're really good.
She like takes. I don't know why I went to like.
Like a mini quiche.
Yeah, like there's a mini quiche or something. She just like slams it down in her mouth and like swallows it after only like one bite.
Mm-hmm.
She like it's hard to tell where it was actually present on the dress, but my dress has internal pockets because I'm gonna enjoy this fantasy.
Oh, yes.
Hell yeah.
She
Hell
pulls
yeah.
out like a personal flask. She undoes the flask. She goes over to Cortez. She takes the champagne flute and pours it into her own flask. Hello, Cortez. Are you still selling yourself out to kill people who are way below your pay grade because you can, because they're right at your level of skill?
Just to let you know, like, absolutely, Lady Pom Poms is next to you with her pom poms on, like.
Oh my god.
Pom poms are casting up pom poms.
Oh
Squeaking.
my gosh.
You grab the flute. You're just quick enough that you just catch her off guard, right? She's over here just like not talking with Verdi, right? But like,
Yeah, that probably pisses off Cordelia even more.
snatched from her hand. You do the pour and everything. There's just this sort of like quick, like millisecond flash that goes across her eyes. But Cordelia, you are perceptive enough that you recognize the rage immediately. But it is gone as soon as it's there. And sort of just this appallingly fake laugh escapes her. Escapes her. She's like, same old Cordy. I'll catch you around. And then she just takes her empty glass and then scuttles on up.
Hermione just like grabs 2 more champagne glasses and gets one to Cordelia, and it's like, "Did you need another? Do you need a top up? I have 2."
Takes
Then she'll
one,
just, like,
pours it
chuck glass
immediately.
overboard.
And the other one she immediately downs.
So she seems not nice.
She isn't.
Do we kill her later?
Cause more problems for us than I would prefer us to deal with.
Aw.
You're very sweet. I appreciate you for the thought, though.
Can I pet? This one's on a little spear so that you could like feel like it's stabbing something.
You see her like peel it off, and then you see her like rapidly poking the air like just in front of her. She's just like, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Oh my
That's-
gosh.
Just hearing the voice of the sword in her head. It's like, no.
You want more mini quiches? Just, I feel like Verdi at this point just grabbed one of the trays from a server and it's
Oh my
just like,
god.
Just eating
yeah. And then as people walk by, just like scoops more.
off of the trays onto
onto her
tray.
tray. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I take one
Yeah.
and I imagine that like I keep Shawi kind of around my like shoulders. Like the skeletal side of their face is like towards my face and the fluffy side is out. And I just like their like spectral part that had gone away. I just hold it here and she's back. And they just grab for it and nom 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 nom.
Absolutely, like Hermione makes sure that like if the raccoon's name is Shorty,
Shawi.
Shawi, yeah. Like ensures that Shawi gets a one of the little swords if he'd like.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh
And
yes.
that ensures that she sort of like herds another one of the people with a tray near Verdi.
Yes.
Make sure that,
Yes.
like when Verity's tray gets a little empty, it like gets swapped out and it's like, here, make yourself useful. So like it says to the person and like hands them the empty tray while taking the full one and just giving it to Verity and like, I think we're set.
That is so good. That is
Very-
so good.
Verdi's got like 5 mini quiches all at once, just going in, just like,
If you do it like that, it's almost like it's a full quiche at that point.
yeah, basically.
They're way too small, way too small.
Yeah. I
Put them all
mean,
together.
I burn a lot of calories. I need my energy. I
Is
usually wouldn't indulge, but this is the most food I've ever seen in my entire life. So
Is that how you are able to carry that big of a sword?
oh no, is it that big? It's pretty small from where I'm from. It's like a medium, pretty scrawny.
And in fact, you would Verity recognize around the deck there are not quite a company, but definitely a group of other what did I call you? Sunblades.
Oh,
Standing they seem to be forming like a perimeter against around a much older a sun elf, or around Freehold, as they call them, old money elves, in a very traditional old raiment of the Sun Empire. Just just huge ring on like one of, probably this thing, the index, just it looks like a sun with all the little triangle guys coming off of, your classic kindergartner sun kind of situation.
Yeah.
But much more golden and ring like, we'll say. And it is apparent that this man is holding court here. You know what I mean? Everyone is just hanging off of his every last word. They're too far for you to see what is happening. But just as you see this, a person, Captain Ramos herself, not had a chance to come around and say hi, by the way. It's very busy. She's hosting this whole affair, right? Or at least putting it on. Comes up and then sort of like gets the musician to quiet down. It's not like there's not like a full band, right, or the kind of situation. There's like it's like one what's a bard, for lack of a better term, right? Who, and it's not like your classic Mary Poppins one-man band situation, and nothing like that. But instead, they have a music box that is it's like a small, like mechanical little panda that has like pulled other little pandas outside of itself, and each of them plays a separate instrument that is like the sound is amplified through its little mechanical body, so they accompany the musician it's like a band in a box kind of thing. But anyway, they're hushed and like not pulled off the stage, but kind of pulled back. Captain Ramos comes out and is like does the general like, thank you all for coming out. Like to thank our hosts. The exquisite, like she's like struggling with the words as she's like reading them off this sheet, right? The exquisite and eternal guild of the golden coin. That's not what it said on my invoice. For hosting this event and putting up such a luxurious item for the winner, the sponsor, the winner of the race. We present one Sir Arthur Blumsfeld, formerly of the Sun Empire. If he could please come up and provide his expertise and tell us all about the artifact that is on display and is the winner's purse, as one says, for tonight's affair. A lot of little soft hand claps. There's one boo, but no one can tell where it came from. Somewhere in the audience, there's like boo.
Hey, is the Guild of the Golden Coin sound familiar to Verdi?
It is not something Verdi has ever heard.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Right. And Verdi, being a sworn blade of the Sun Empire, you're taught all the names of all friends and foes alike, and the foes list is very long, right? But it's one of those things like you're made to like memorize it. Like there's pneumatic devices and mnemonic. That's it. Mnemonic is right. Pneumatic is those little tubes at the bank.
Yeah.
Pneumatic is like hydraulics sort of thing.
Well, you put your deposit slip in there, it goes, and then your mortgage comes out, and then you don't have money.
Anyway, does the thing, and then you cry.
Yeah.
One tier. Right, to remember all these, but that's not one that has ever come up to the best of your knowledge, which is final seal trap, we'll say. But yeah, even at the mention of this, you don't like. There's not like a representative of this guild that seems to have been like, "What's up?" Like they always like when you're always like someone gives you a shout out at an event, you're always like, "Yeah, right here, that's me, Diddy," or whatever. I don't know how these things really work, but and then yes, Arthur comes up, and then it's just a very long-winded, like, through the power of myth, we've all come to understand. It's just drawling, and immediately just attentions just go everywhere else. But this man is like front and center.
Verdi is like honed in on what this man is saying.
Mm-hmm. It's all about the antler itself, and the legends say that in an effort to dethrone the Dark Queen and strip her of her power, there was a group of adventurers, which he mentions like out of fashion these days, aren't they? Back in my previous centuries, then bands of people would just roam the countryside, unearthing vampires and raiding temples and the like. But no, that life is for another age long past. But where was I? Ah, yes, the antler. She is the first queen of magic, Jacqueline Hops. Legend says grew too powerful and her greed too great. She desired only to increase her grip on the world and reality itself, some even say. So it was a bold group out of Freehold itself. Came to take her on, but all they could manage was to take this one antler from her, and some say that was enough. And her bite was never seen in this world again. Others say much of her power resides within the artifact. Now, how our good friends at the bank even acquired such a relic is beyond even the knowledge of one as great as I. And it's, it more of the same. He starts doing that whole little like circular talk thing where he's like starts to just sort of repeat something he just said, but differently. As if draws on Cordelia, Damascus, your sword. I got the name we agreed on, right? Too late now. I went with it.
Go with it.
Damascus.
We're doing it live.
Made out of Damascus steel.
Yes. No.
It's just it's a sword. It's a sword metal. I'm more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brain.
It's the Damascus. It's just Spanish, I think.
I keep hearing
Anyway.
it differently when everyone says it. So I heard it as the Mask Us, and I was like, so it's a
Mhm.
it's a newly out trans
The Mask.
dude. I'm very
Mm.
confused.
But anyway, Damascus, your sword of swords, whispers. You feel them coming, and immediately this sort of unnatural darkness descends on the entire deck. The lights, the candles and lights around you don't go out. They are drowned in the darkness, just as everything else is. And for a moment, all of your senses are gone. Not just your sight, but your sense of sound, hearing, some call it, is completely deafened out. Cordelia, you recognize this. I had to grab my pen. I just kept looking at it on the floor, and I just
I
had
thought
to
you were
get-
bringing out another prop. I was like, oh god, is
Another-
there a sword coming out or
No.
something?
Oh my
I
god.
wish. Cordelia, you recognize this as a tactic employed by the Guild of Assassins.
Oh,
Like this is like a classic, distract and stab sort of thing. Disorient and dismember.
joy.
If you all could hear as the veil of darkness descended upon you, you would have heard a singular scream. But as it lifts and light and sensation return and all of your senses begin to work again, you all see the body of Arthur Blumsfeld laid out on the stage that was set up with a sword sticking out of his back. And the case that was holding the antler has not been disturbed, has not been touched. Glass is intact, but the artifact is gone. And I would like Hermione to roll to defy disaster.
Oh, great.
And we are going to use, give me one sec, let me pull up my reference sheet. I said that and I wasn't ready. I apologize. I would like you to use your wit.
That would be a 5.
Got it.
Oh, no.
0 is still a 5.
It takes you a moment as there's just general commotion. Some people have fainted, some have just straight fallen, some like smashed into each other, right? So there's like commotion and clutter. You realize after a few moments that you feel on your person. I would think you'd have like a bag of some sort, satchel. If not, it's just tucked into the folds of your outfit. But
I usually have a hard shell case on my back.
something very pointy in there. Many prongs. And then you hear a voice yourself. That of an old woman. And it comes sort of like at the corner, like you don't hear it in your ears, you hear it like in that little spot on your neck right between your earlobe and, like right behind the earlobes. You just sort of feel it, feel the voice pinching you there. It's like, well, now this is a spot we've gotten ourselves into, isn't it, my dear? That's what they'll do when they find me on you.
Some tears. There's probably going to be some blood. I'm not sure I'm going to make it out alive, but there's definitely going to be some others I'm going to take with me. Oh, was that supposed to be a rhetorical question? Listen, I don't know why you decided to hitch a ride with me. You should find your own shell. The whole point of leaving home, find your own shell. And cozy. Now it's a little too snug.
Mm-hmm.
You're pointing into my back and it hurts.
Big, right? As you feel the prongs of the antler in there. A shell. I've never had a shell.
They're lovely. I can't recommend them enough, honestly.
I have had claws.
But not nice.
I had fangs. I had ears. I had eyes. I had many eyes. More eyes than I could
count. So did my sister. She actually kind of liked it.
Maybe I'll have your eyes after this is done.
You know what? I'm really rather attached to them personally. I know I said I wanted to meet some ladies at this party. This is really not what I was thinking, though.
But not an antler lady. Not even.
I feel like I might have gotten a little out of my depth here. Not sure what I did to catch your eye. You'll have to tell me so I can avoid it again.
What
Oh,
here?
wait, no, I got an itch in my back. Could you go a little lower? Really quick while you're there. No. Oh, no. Ow, too hard. No.
Yeah, it can't move, but you do feel something attempting to scratch that itch. But yes, it does.
I appreciate
go a little
it,
hard.
Also regretting asking now as I think about it.
In a reply to your question, though, the voice just sort of says, well, dear, I can't rightly say myself. I was just sort of not existing. And then I found myself here. It's very, very odd. But now that we are friends, can I call you friend?
I'm not 100% sure. We've only just made, acquaintances might be a little more apropos at this moment because we just don't know each other well enough for friendship yet. But I'm fine with acquaintances.
Well, then, Hermione, we are acquaintances now.
True enough.
As an acquaintance, I wonder, dear, if you might do me a favor. Take me home.
That's a bit forward for an acquaintance. That's not what I was interested in tonight. I'm also not entirely sure how that would work out. Does everybody else just see my brain just like trying to like work through this problem of like how this physically happens and like what is going on here?
Yeah, to everyone else, you've gone very quiet. Everything you've said, you've not said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a full tilt commotion going on. Helga, the bouncer, has come barreling up and is trying to like calm people down, keep them from leaving this thing. What's perhaps, right? Using that big axe to just Australian Shepherd. I don't know what kind of dogs herd sheep. I think that's one because it's in the name. Anyway, what are the rest of y'all doing as Hermione's there just having a little chat with herself?
I feel like Verdi would feel obligated to go over to Arthur's corpse body. Corpse. Cool.
Hey.
To like run over. She's still technically assembled, just kind of on vacation, not on vacation. Like, just like
Today's PTO just got unapproved.
yeah, like I've been on vacation for like 2 weeks, and they're like, okay, well, you have to come back like now. Like,
Right.
Yeah, she's like over there, like examining the body, I guess.
So I would say even before you get there, the other blades are already there. One of them is down. You hear them scream, my lord, what is? And then as they recognize that he is dead, like EED dead.
He did.
Their swords come out. And you were right. Yours is a medium. These are the larges, right? They see you approaching. One of them with, the largest, one hand points at you. Blade. Name and rank.
Verdi, what are ranks? Is this just like standard military ranks?
I mean, they have just goofy names like, they're all like celestial and or sword based. So your only rank that you've ever been given is blade. Like you've not risen above that.
Verdi, blade.
Where's your commanding officer?
Presume back at the Empire. I sort of got injured, and then someone found me and dragged me back here.
I don't have time. You report to me now.
Yes.
Understood?
Yes.
I'm Willard. Willard the ill-tempered.
Willard, he, him?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Willard.
It's a great injustice. No, he's like a great offense has been struck against our empire. We must find the culprit before they get away. Begin questioning these people. We will guard the corpse.
Of course, sir.
He stands, and then he sends the other three like in other directions too. But it's just utter chaos right now, right? Captain Ramos is like nowhere to be found.
Verdi's gonna like march back over to our group and be like, okay, did you all see anything?
Did we see anything?
So same thing for the other two of you, Nori and Cordelia. This darkness, Nori, for you is very different than anything you've experienced with the unseen, right? But you definitely get a twinkle of magic out of it, right? Like you get the sensation that that your senses were magically influenced. I don't know. Shut off, right? You can sense that, but it's not anything close to what you the traditions that you've learned, right? The way that you've learned how to produce such effects. Cordelia, you know this. You know the sense that you've been parts of groups that have done this to people. So it is very familiar to you. You yourself were left senseless as well, but it is, it's one of those things where you haven't been on the receiving end of this since like you were training how to do it.
Could I try to use divination?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I would like to try to use divination. I feel like as this has been going down, Nori's been kind of just like for one, she's kind of shocked, but she's kind of not shocked. She was just like, of course something goes down with these folks. And so she kind of feels like, oh, it's kind of opportune that guy wants Verdi to guard the body, basically. So since a dead person is still a person, could I use divination? And I would like to find out something about this now dead person. I would like to find out something interesting about them that could maybe perhaps give me insight to what happened here. She's just like, what the heck happened?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll with spirit.
All right.
And we're gonna.
That's a double 1. That's a double 1 plus 2. That's a 4. This is a sad day. Oh,
So yeah,
Are
you
you
attempt.
also distracted by Lady Pom Poms?
a
Possibly, right.
sad day.
So yeah, you reach into the unseen. You try to tap in to that source that connects you to it. And as you reach out, there's just too much chaos. There's just too much cacophony for you to be able to concentrate. But you do get this aggressive, almost violent pushback from what you recognize as the shade of the deceased, of Arthur Lumsfeld.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing it says, you see his sort of like hollowing out, like this sort of like shriveling face, right? Like it looks like his elven youth is rapidly leaving. It's like aging and fast forward, right? Like every one of his 1,000 years is beginning to show on that face, and the eyes are nothing but just two black balls that are like sort of bleeding or misting out this crackling dark energy. And he just says, "The shadow took me."
Wow. So from that, I'm guessing I into it from that wasn't something of like he had some kind of magic that was hiding how old he was and he just rapidly aged. It was more of something fucking took him.
You would take that as it's like that's what happened to his spirit.
Okay.
Right? Like he was 1,000 years old. He was an elf.
Mm-hmm.
They live that long. They don't show it.
Yeah.
But his death, or perhaps whatever caused his death, right?
Mm-hmm. Did force
caused his spirit to just shrivel and become this wispy old thing.
It's a spirit reason.
Yes.
Spirit raisin.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my gosh.
I like raisins. I don't like him.
I mean,
What an insult to raisins.
But yeah, you can tell. Yeah, just from that, you don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
That wasn't some normal sword that took him out.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
I would amongst like all the chaos happening, and we're like, I guess we're probably around this body.
Perhaps you've gotten closer to it. Yeah.
Yeah. She would share that with the group. Hey, so the sword that took that man was not it wasn't a normal sword. It was, he said the shadow took him. And she just like repeats like what he said, because she finds it kind of like, she's just like, wow, that's a lot.
Verity's probably going to quite literal look at shadows. She like
Poking him with your sword.
yeah, like poking them and be like stopping people and be like, hey, have you seen this shadow do anything suspicious or any suspicious shadows?
Oh my gosh.
I have it on good information that shadows are involved in this.
You're doing that, and there's like a frog gentleman in like a snappy little suit who sort of like stumbles. You're like poking out, and like your sword like kind of trips him up. The knee on his pant rips. It's like, what are you talking about? There's a dead man. We gotta get out of here. And he starts hopping away.
Can I just like just pat his shoulders. Like, we're supposed to rub shoulders with these nice people.
Supposed to just
Oh my god! Just good day, individual. But also
he sort of squirms as you do that to try to escape your grasp, and like does that little frog thing when his legs to kick off of you and just like goes bounding away. Something like that frog dude in Spirited Away. You know.
Oh, yes.
The one that gets into trubs, but a little taller, but like hobbit size, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are things that I can do?
What's Cordelia up to?
I was about to ask.
Since you've
just
been
a random question.
Uh-huh.
Does that description sound at all familiar to me of that being done to somebody?
Well, the thing about a shadow blade used by the League of Assassins is it takes an amount of power, of energy, to create an effect such as that. And generally, artifacts that expend that energy must consume as well, must take. Sometimes, in order for a shadow to make a shadow must take something else to replenish it. So yes, Cordelia would be like, yeah, my sword used to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. That was the answer I was afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Those mini quiches just aren't going to do it.
They're really not. They're so small.
I think she's having the look of like, is anyone starting to go? Does she see Cortez? Does Cortez appear to be at all looking in her direction?
Mm-hmm.
Also, is anyone else looking in her direction, given that the sword is still present?
Right.
She still has her sword.
You have yours.
Yeah, I have
There's
mine.
one in the body as well. Like it's been just like planted there. Curiously though, the sword planted in the body looks to you just like your run-of-the-mill longsword. Like you could go buy Long Swords R Us and get one there. That's not a place.
It is now. Canon now.
But Cortez, no. You scan the deck and you no sign of her. And she's not one to miss you, right? That red dress was very like meant to be seen.
It
right?
popped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's gonna start just running around the crowd and just trying to see if she can find her. She's like, I don't trust this. I don't like this at all. I don't like this. This is not a thing. It's not like this couldn't have been a foreseeable circumstance that came about in this kind of situation because money.
Right.
But it feels too weird that like just happened to have an assassin besides me here, and someone just happened to die right after we saw him.
Assassinated there. Right. But no, you continue to look, and you know the crowd, as it were, is beginning to thin out. The only people left seem to be growing more and more agitated. You finally find not Cassandra Cortez, but Captain Ramos instead. She seems to be being like not surrounded, but crowded, we'll say, by two of the Sun Swords from the Sun Empire. Another half-orc, you don't recognize, and also a dwarf and another frog type person, in Anura, they are known as. And you can tell just by the general demeanor of them and some of the snippets, they're all talking at once, you know what I mean? They're all just like talking after, they're trying to figure out what she knows about what's happened and what has happened to the artifact. these are all the sponsors of the racers. They're all they all want their prize, right? They don't care who wins this race. It's minutes away from being declared, and they don't care. They just want to know where it is. And Captain Ramos has no answers for them. Sort of like darts her eyes, she sees you approaching, and then sort of just mouths, "What did you do?"
I didn't do anything. It's the scene I'm imagining. The way it's playing out in my head is a scene where it's like, was it the like 10th Doctor talking to Donna and Doctor Who through like the door where they can't actually talk to one another? It's just like 2 minutes of just them doing like long conversation with each other.
Do we see this?
Yes, she's not hiding it. This is a very rare moment of like, this is not good. This is like a
okay.
This is a professional like harm being done to her. I'm like, look,
Can I offer her emotional support? She seems distressed.
palpable level of anxiety appearing on a woman.
Can I
Yeah.
offer you a quiche egg at this time? At this trying time?
Yeah, she seems like someone who's always like probably like pretty like level-headed and cool is like freaking out. That's kind of scary. That's kind of like, oh no, like especially like, you know, them two having like talked about different things and stuff. Like she knows that she's an assassin and she's just like, oh no, what if they think that Cordelia did it? But Cordelia didn't do it. She was next to us the whole time. Like Nori knows that Cordelia didn't do it.
And it probably doesn't help that Cordelia is at some points like making the very visible like, stabbing motion.
Yeah. And then she's like this, and it's just like, oh, cut off the head. She's like, oh, this is not good.
She probably turns around at the moment, like you see her doing this, and she's like, no, I didn't. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't if someone paid. Well, I wouldn't do it if someone paid me anymore. I don't do that. Damn it.
So yeah, Nori, let's go ahead and roll with it's heart or spirit. So you get to choose. I guess I should have. Did I read that?
Heart or spirit. Okay.
I'll have strings you can use to roll with.
I'm going to use spirit, and Shali gets to help me.
Oh, excellent.
Because I've got my eerie companion. So, yeah. So when Shali helps me, it's like something that's obvious and alarming to ordinary people. So Shali definitely appears, and I'm like trying to like comfort you, like calm me down, like it's okay, like it's gonna be okay. And like I imagine Shali's just like mirroring my emotions, like it's okay. Their little skeleton hands, like they're making like squeaky noises at you,
like choreographed.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We got a 4 and a 1. That's 5 plus 2, 5, 6, 7 plus 1 from Shali. That is an 8.
Okay, so then that allows Cordelia to pick one. We're either going to mark XP, clear condition, which I think would be better. Maybe not. Or take one forward. Or you can gain insight from me about an obstacle facing one of you two.
Yeah, if you're smitten with them and they refuse to open up to you, it stings. Oh, well, I'm reading the smitten things as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because you are.
That's right. So you get to choose an additional option.
Yeah, I choose the gain the insight and +1 forward.
What would you like? Actually, here's what you gain insight on, because there's a very clear obstacle happening right now.
It's kind of obvious.
You become Nori's support. It allows you to sort of focus, right? You begin to like, I'm an assassin. I'm trained for this. I know things. You become keenly aware. Hermione's been very quiet this entire time, and there seems to be something in Hermione's little shell pack poking out just a bit. You can see just a corner of it. And it definitely was not there before. And as you look, Hermione seems to be in sort of like not like a trance, but she's not looking all there.
When is she?
Meanwhile, Lady Pom Pom's just like shaking you a little.
Oh.
I think Cordelia, in response to like the support, it is like still trying to keep under wraps, but is still slightly panicking, and then clocks the thing sticking out. Okay. She like grabs both of Nori's shoulders, which of course means she has to kind of like bend down. Hey, this is the problem. This is what I've
I'm
created
so
for myself by
sorry.
making very tall ladies all the time. is
It's
that all of them
okay.
are a good foot taller. She like bends down. She's like, okay, I'd like to state this directly. I love you very much. Please trust me on this. And then she immediately goes and is like, goes to Verdi. It's like, here, come here.
Yeah.
Come here,
Okay.
come here,
I'm
come here.
I'm coming back for you. Like that
Just eye
shadow.
the shadows suspiciously
Oh my
the
god!
entire time.
On the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like goes right up to Hermione. She's like, what do you have?
Do you have the thing?
Am I responsive?
You are.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you like you weren't in like a trance like state or anything, but this entire conversation is happening in your head. So it's sort of like drawn a lot of your focus. Right. But yeah, you definitely hear as they're questioning you.
And I feel like I would want to tell them of like I don't know how it happened, but I mean, the good news is I think I picked up a lady tonight. And she's asked me to take her home, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. It doesn't feel as good as I thought it would.
Yeah,
This
you
project.
didn't work enough on your like upper arms. I think picking up a lady would be really hard.
I mean, I could do that. It's just that this one just appeared. It's a little old for me. I mean, not that you just really doesn't really mean.
Oh.
Just generally, we're very, very, very close at the moment. Physically.
I like Verdi's like looking around, just like confused as all heck.
Yeah. Yeah, Nori went from like frozen to like what just happened between her and Cordelia, like literally frozen, like, did that freaking just happen? To she starts hearing Hermione talk and she just like, did she what? She's just like, oh, she has like a secret lover, like in her mind is what she's like, oh my gosh. She's just like, this is really all making sense now. She's just like, good for her.
Except that there's clearly like confusion tinged with panic, and like the questioning is very much like, how much do I say out loud when everybody is looking for what is now in my backpack? And also like, I don't know if I'm in danger, if she's in danger, if we're both in danger, because this feels like it wasn't a good situation at any point in time, but especially seems a little bit more dangerous for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally my shell protects me from things, and right now the thing that I would want to be protected from is inside my shell with me, which is a distinctly uncomfortable feeling.
Oh God, I bet.
Like I didn't come to my place, and they're already there. They want me to take them to my other place, and I'm like I technically wanted something in this vein, not in this specific vein to happen, but like
we were
threatened somebody at a party, but this feels very much like a very distorted wish fulfillment.
Oh,
Are you being threatened? Do we need to call the
I'm being
constable?
threatened, to be honest. It's very confusing. But I feel threatened by the situation in general, you know?
Well, where is this lady? Like,
In my mind right now, which also, again, I normally very much have walls there normally, and it's very disturbing that she's behind me already.
She must be very strong with magic. She's able to get into your mind.
Very, very, very strong with magic.
But
What
there's
did I
some
say?
boundaries
Legends.
there, like
Mhm.
boundaries there that you shouldn't get into people's minds like that.
you sure she's real? You're like imaginary friend?
Listen, that was one time when I was 16. I told you that in confidence.
I was not talking about that. I was not talking about that.
Unfortunately, I just told the other two about that. So now we all know.
You told the other two. Yeah, I wasn't talking. Anyways,
This is the moment.
As you're doing that, Cordelia Damascus speaks to you again and says she's not imaginary. She does feel like a dream.
It's like a dream title of my
familiar.
sex tape.
Boom. Something familiar. I can't-
Sorry.
She's like, but Damascus is like, it's something familiar about this presence. It's been too long. I can't think clearly anymore. Perhaps if I could
Familiar.
feed, I could help you more.
I'm going to regret this greatly.
Perhaps if you let me do what I was made for.
Not to anyone else. Will blood suffice?
That's the thing about blood is there's never enough.
Big thirsty sword.
It is. That's the name of the game.
Oh my god.
But yeah, you
Suddenly become
Bazinga.
that much worse for me. I have somehow dug my own hole with my own specific specifications in a manner I didn't expect somehow.
Oh
so as
my
you
gosh.
struggle with
feel
your
like-
spooky
sorry,
sword. Oh no, you're good. A sort of different scene has begun to unfold. Another crowd of folk across the deck. Cassandra has reappeared. And she's crossing the deck towards y'all. Helga at one side, the rest of the sun blades to her other, and some of the other more interested parties have sort of begun to amass behind her. And she goes, "Hey, Cordy, how'd you do it?
Do what?
Don't worry, babe. I'll find out myself. You really must check this out." And she pulls out the wand. Like she begins to unsheath her wand. And it's just like this long, slender, sort of wooden device with these metal fixings. And she holds it by the curved handle. And she's like, "You must check this out. Mummy got it for me. She calls it a firearm," and then points it in your direction. And as she activates it, a beam of light forms a sword from it.
Oh,
And she sort of like gestures with it, points it back at you. And she goes, "There she is, boys. That's the bitch who did it.
Ah!
I guarantee it."
Verdi's like swords out. Like,
Hermione has swords out as well. I'm like, no.
watch how you speak to Cordelia. You?
Also, she would never use that trashy sword. You know it.
As
Yeah, it's way too tacky.
As they sort of form up, I already forgot what I named the dumb sun sword guy.
Willard.
Willard.
The
Willard.
ill-tempered.
Willard. The
Willard.
ill-tempered.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I wrote it. I wrote it here, not there. Anyway, Willard turns to you, Verdi. Says, Verdi, to my side.
Sir, I with all due respect, I know Cordelia, and she would do nothing of the sort. She was by my side the entire time.
At that, Cassandra sort of just laughs. That same fake laugh that she had before. She says, then what's in the show?
I just the moment that Verity talks back to her commanding officer, Hermione does become smitten with Verity. Right?
Verity, go ahead and gain a string. Hermione, let's talk about why. Hold on. JK. Here it is. So you become smitten. You will.
Although,
let's go ahead and.
Quick clarification. I don't need to have like a full 4 strings on her to become smitten.
No, you become smitten whenever you want to become smitten.
Oh.
That's the thing you do. You just declare, they did something super cool. I think they're the best. I am now smitten. They gain a string on me, and I answer this question. So for you, we're going to answer, what is a clear challenge to being with Verity that you're overlooking because of your naivete?
Mm-hmm.
How on earth are there survive life? You have like two of the most like I guess least complicated people, like in that it's one of those, it would almost be too easy for somebody to like trick one or the other of us to some degree. And then it's just like both of us have had our own versions of sheltered upbringings, and so it's like neither of us knows enough to know any better. So it's kind of just the doubling up exponentially, like increased exponentiality of the naivete of our of us if we were to like become a pairing of like somehow they got even more naive as a couple.
That's
wow.
good. That's
like
so
move
good.
in together, and we're like, yeah, we're just like roommates. Yeah.
Yeah, like we honestly might be together and not necessarily always remember we're dating.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like the meme, and they were both bottoms. I'm sorry.
That's where I was going, but that's even better than what I thought. I was just gonna go with the meme. Oh, and look at these two. Looking back on history, they were just close friends. They
Yeah.
were gal pals.
They were
pals.
they shared the same bed, just like gals being pals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
And they ain't like that.
Yeah, the triggering moment was definitely like Verity being able to like overcome that instinct to follow like an authoritative figure, especially one that would be drilled into her to be like somebody she has to obey, but her choosing like, no, these are my people. I know them. They're fine. They're cool.
Does that count as going against my commandments?
Well, let's talk about what your commandments are. Something, draw a sword, never admit weak emotions, no intimacy after marriage, never let a weak person fight their own battles, always obey an authority. That would be going against that, yes.
Okay,
Let's
talk about what happens.
What? This is so crazy.
Oh boy. You know, this might be an occasion where, given one of the moves that I have, I could initiate what we call a pro gamer move here.
Pro gamer move.
I guess you get to mark XP, which is exciting.
Nice.
And then you write a conviction that expresses your new belief that contradicts the commandment that you have just broken.
Oh, I know exactly what to write.
Mm-hmm.
That the people I care about matter more than the authority.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that for her.
Love that.
Can we specify that down to Cordy is always right?
Really narrow it down.
Yes.
So Verdi, as you're standing firm, blade drawn, ready to face down, not only this platoon, it's not that many. That applies like 16, I think. I don't know numbers. This squad of sunblades with, smattering of other folks and everything. The three of you, it's like that that perfect little moment, in an anime when like you get the three different perspectives all flash at the same time. It's like, like everyone's face making the same face, but from different angles, blah, blah, blah. Nori, for you, it's Ishawi. Cordelia, for you, it's Damascus. And Hermione, for you, it's the new voice in your head. And they all, with the same sense of urgency, say in unison, although, only audible to each of you individually, but with this, at the same time, you hear, it's time to run. And at that, Captain Ramos shoves herself into one of the sun blades, just causing a bit of chaos on her, and just goes, "Get out of here! Go!"
Question.
Yeah.
Could I try to, through this chaos of moment that's happening, could I try to use cutting words to inflict a condition on that chick that Cordelia took the champagne from?
Is this?
It's under danger moves.
Oh, gotcha. Let me
Take through violence or cutting words. I'd like to use cutting words to inflict a condition.
Sorry. Yes.
Just like before we leave, if that's possible.
I'm not seeing which. Is this just the fight move, or is
Yeah,
it,
this is under
it's
basic
number
moves.
2. Oh, when you seek to incapacitate someone, violence roll. Oh, okay. So the way I interpret this one is working is like you are actively in a fight.
Mhm.
So you're drawn, swords are drawn, etc. You know what? I say you wouldn't even need to do it that way. Let's just roll your I'm trying to think of a best way to intimidate a person. Or you know what? Yes. I'm just saying yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this actually fits the scenario the best the way you presented it. So yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and roll your fight. So it's a daring or grace.
Okay.
Although I will say, because you're rolling with your words and not that's not a straight fight, I'd say you could use wit as a substitute as well if you'd like.
Cool. I would love to use wit. So that is 6, 7, 8, 9. And shall we count me with that? So that is a 9.
Excellent.
So can I insult this person? Can I cut them with my words?
Yes. What do you say?
I say, "You're hooting up the wrong owl, you nursery rhyming can of beans."
Yeah. Yeah. And that provokes her. And she just, that rage that she was able to suppress before when Cordelia insulted her, she is unable to. And she just kind of lashes out. Just in her rage, she just flips. She goes, "No one speaks to me like," and just shouts the last word like that. And like just flails her arm, cuts one of the sunblades in half with her sword. And that's when real chaos erupts. The others descend on her. She is fighting them off. It's just a brawl, right? The blades against not Cordelia, against Cortez, the the Anura turns on the dwarf, there's just madness still, right? It's just like the shove happens and then you shout and then the blade, and then Captain Ramos again just pleads with you to go as her sailors and shipmates just enter the fray.
Yeah.
To try to, defend her.
Hey, Hermione, can I pick you up and you can swim, right?
Yes, I can. Feel free to pick me up anytime. Yep.
Verdi's gonna try and pick up Hermione and just yeet off the side of the ship into the water. Just
go ahead and as you do that, roll to defy disaster for me and use, I would say, you're daring.
Which one of us?
Defy disaster. Oh, sorry. That'll be Verdi.
Yep, I got it. Okay, let's
Okay. That's a sound.
Okay.
Sorry, it was another sound.
That will be an 11.
Love
Beautiful.
that.
You're able to like a basketball player shooting a 3-pointer, right? You just somehow just yeet across the whole ship, Kobe. The whole
I feel
ship.
compelled to say it's Kobe.
Hermione goes flying.
Javelin.
Right. And as Hermione, you just you splash down harmlessly into the water, your natural environment. Right. And from here, Hermione, you would know actually a pretty quick way to get to a tavern in the sunken city. The underground portion of the city that serves air breathers as well. They have a little section. It's you could get them down there and then get them to relative safety, keep that in your back pocket. Okay. So one of you's off the ship. What are the other three you do? That one's been yeeted.
After she says that and she is stunned that that did something, she just she quickly turns to Cordelia, having seen Verdi just yeet Hermione off the ship. She turns to Cordelia and she just and grabs her by the hand, and she's just we gotta go, but she's just
She
fucking
kisses
gay.
you right there.
She's gay panic. Oh shit!
You didn't Hermione was going to come up like Sebastian singing "Kiss the Girl" in the water.
La, 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 la.
Wait,
Okay. What do we get a thing though? We got to do a thing.
Oh shoot! Oh yeah, that's the thing.
When we
Oh yeah, and she's smitten with her. Sorry, I forgot to say that. She's
Finally
smitten.
Kit's in a dangerous situation.
Sorry, she's smitten with her. What do you do when you're smitten with?
You make out, apparently.
The fuck if I know, right?
you each get a +1 ongoing.
Okay, cool.
To get safety and protection, to get to safety and protect the other for the rest of the scene.
Oh,
so
cool.
Basically, if you two help each other to get out of this situation, you'd get a +1 to any of your rolls.
Cool. Wow.
So.
Wow. Yeah, she's grabbing her. She's we gotta go, but then she's having a gay panic at the same time. So, yeah. And she's smitten. So whatever that does. What is
I don't know that it.
A +1. Does that give somebody a string?
No, it's just a lovely moment. But
I see. I'm so sorry.
but then the both of you would get a +1 to your rolls to help each other.
Okay.
To safety, since you're in a dangerous situation. If you then were now I eat you, you'd get a
Jump off the boat holding hands let's go.
Synchronized diving.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. May I add to the ridiculousness
Yes.
of this moment?
Yes.
I'm going to take a guess both of us, or at least one of us, will have to do defy disaster for the situation.
Oh, shoot, huh?
But I'm inclined to think that with Cortez literally cutting down someone, I imagine she's gunning straight for Nori and Cordelia. And so I imagine it as one of these like Cordelia like grabs Nori in the middle of like her trying to like bluster out a like statement and like pulls her up for it's just the cover art of the book basically.
Yes.
Just
yes.
It's just basically the cover art. But in one fluid motion is pulling out the sword and is just like parrying the next strike that's coming in towards
Nice.
the both of them in order to protect them as we're jumping down.
Yes. Love that for us.
Whether we have to roll for it or not, I just want that as part of it.
I'm gonna say no. That just happens. We're not rolling for it. It's a beautiful like parry, and then you grab Nori and the two of you just leap to safety.
Yeah.
Leaving Hermione on the
Verdi.
Verdi on the deck.
Lady Pom-Poms tries to throw Verdi off the deck.
It's like a little shove.
Just like curling up at the feet, like trying to pull. Oh God! What is where is Cassandra at this time? Is she getting?
So she attempted to come forward. Like she's been fighting off the Sunblades, but it was able to lunge, but was parried away by Cordelia, and then immediately is now like faced up against these others. Verity, that the blades that they carry can stand up to this magical blade that she's produced, right? So they're able to like cross swords with her, but that thing will cut through their armor as well as yours, given the opportunity, just like butter. So they're holding her off, but you don't know for how long. Like Cordelia was able to get like kind of like shove her back into that.
Have I ever swam? Does Verity know how to swim? I don't think she's.
You let me know. What do you think?
I don't know if she has been near water enough to, and also she's wearing full armor. She would like sink straight to the bottom.
Hermione is waiting like at the water, being like, "I got you."
Well, if Verity hears that, she's gonna hop up on the railing and go, "Night, tilt."
In that case, Hermione, I'd like you to roll to defy disaster, and I would like you to use whatever you would like, because I want to know how you plan on catching Verity, keeping her afloat, as it were.
How much? Okay. Like, which one would this be? I think it would be daring, because I'm trying to catch an armored person who even Hermione's like, I don't know if she knows how to swim, so I'm gonna have to do this. And I just got a 7. I catch her. Not the most graceful catch, but it works.
You're able to, but just the weight of Verity's armor begins sort of like committing you both down a bit.
I probably would have yelled to her to hold her breath, and then I will just get us to the ground and like have her run with me while our breaths are like while she's holding her breath.
Big like underwater run, like
like Pirates of the
Caribbean, because it's underwater.
Like, right.
And if she looks like she's out of breath, I might kiss her to share air, because I have, the capability of like maybe
if
take
you
advantage of the situation.
Verity would be smitten. Also, pretty sure that would break a commandment again.
Well, I mean,
get
possibly.
it.
Or no intimacy. Would this count as, is it the type of intimacy that you're not allowed until after marriage, or is this above board? It's not above water, I'm telling you that much.
I was about to say, it's definitely below board because we're in the water now.
I feel that
Oh my gosh.
Probably in the grand scheme of things, it's fine. Like, you know how like, oh, like drink, you know, like if you do this, it's like not great, but like, you know, it's okay a little bit. But like for Verdi, the himba with no with no just like letter of the law, it's like
So to Verity, it counts as breaking the commandment.
yeah.
Now, is this like a clean break? Like you're breaking it and you're never going to do this again, or is it like a, oh no, what have I done?
Oh no, I like
this.
Oh no, this is fun. Oh no, this is nice. Kissing is nice. That's what went through Verity's head right there.
Okay.
Lesbian
being-
smooch.
Being smitten, since you got smitted, I don't know. That's not right.
I was
How
speech is a
verbs
pun.
work. We'll say we'll figure out your commandment in a minute, but let's answer your smitten question. Which of your values does Hermione openly violate or decry?
The never admit your weak emotions. I feel that if Hermione has shared something about her past before,
An
Mhm.
imaginary girlfriend at 16. So
There.
Imaginary
There you go.
girlfriend.
Grand example. So yeah, you two kiss. It's beautiful, right? We're under the water, maybe a little salty, sea salt, etc. But yes, Hermione, you're able to share enough of your breath that you're able to get Verity to shore. And I'd say that the other two of you as well. And it's sort of just a mad rush at this point, right? To get through the docks. There's like word of what's happened aboard the Lady Steelwind has begun to spread, and there's just commotion in other places. There are constables running towards the spot, but you're able to sort of duck in an alley and avoid that altogether. It's a slow but careful trek back to the Undercity. You appear the door and right in front of the here and beyond. Nor you open the door to walk in, and as you walk through the doorway, this sort of like dazzling white light sort of appears, and you're walking into it. And for the four of you, it's similar to the experience before with the shadow, but it's the opposite, right? There's just this dazzling light, and you sort of feel yourselves lose yourselves. Like not before where your senses were cut off, but rather you just have a sense that your bodies don't exist anymore, but your consciousness does. And it's sort of being stretched and pushed and kneaded like dough until you sort of just hear this pop. And it's like the sensation like when your ears pop when you get off of a plane or something, right? And you're in a grove, a clearing in a forest. And it is in your, oh yeah, Emil got lost in the fray. He's somewhere. He's safe. Sorry.
I feel like he would definitely be like, "Oh, gotta get out of here."
Oh
I
yeah.
totally
Also,
forgot to keep
Lady
role-playing him.
Pom-Poms is
and I
coming with
apologize.
Verity.
Oh no, yeah. Familiars
Yeah,
are
yeah.
along. Emil he made it to the Salted Llama,
Yeah.
tavern. He's just like,
He's just like,
He's
"I don't
drinking
want to
with
go to
Bobby.
a party again."
him and Bobby are just drinking I don't know what happened, but I didn't like it kind of thing. But the four of you, this grove you appear in it's like the deck of the ship you left, right? Or rather the deck of the ship, you sort of realize it was an imitation of the place that you're in.
Oh.
And standing behind this same luxurious grand garden party sort of table, right? With this spread of sandwiches and pastries and these things and those things, there stands a figure, a bunny woman with a sharp monocle and a singular antler arising from her head alongside her ears. Hermione, you feel a rattle as the antler that was in your pack just sort of shakes and comes loose and leaves. And you don't see her catch it with her hand, but rather it slows down and just comes through and then up her head until it affixes itself in place. And then she sort of just shakes her head like one does after getting out of the shower. Well, that feels better now, doesn't it, dearies? Now, I believe you have something else that belongs to me. And at that, Cordelia, you hear the voice of your sword with a longing question in its voice say, "Mother." And that's where we're going to end.
Oh, question. Because I got smitten. What was the question? I didn't want to interrupt because the story is so good.
My question.
Sorry.
The question is.
Oh no! Like when I get smitten, what happens?
The person you get smitten with gains a string on you, and then you answer your smitten question.
Oh, I see. Well, what's my question? Sorry, I'm just curious.
Oh no, you're good.
I didn't want to interrupt the storytelling because it was so awesome.
Your question is, what obvious thing about you are you sure that would make them reject you, and them being the person you become smitten with?
Oh, what would make them? Oh, I don't think they would. Oh, I don't think they'd reject me. I mean, because because of everything that happened, she'd be like, already they're my friend because like they like me for me, and then there was like the moment in my shop, and then there was like dead ass just grabbed me and was like, "I love you." So she was just like, so, and then the kiss. So she was just like, yeah, like why? She's just like, she would have to be like the exact opposite of the person who I know she is to reject me, basically.
Oh, okay.
That's what it would be. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No, you're great. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out. This has been a great game. We have been the Freehold Fiasco, the Lost Relic. Really got to tear that down. That's a lot of name. Right now, I've been Miguel, your GM. I'll let everyone introduce themselves, and let's all have a lovely evening. Let's go ahead and Car. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Car. I was playing Hermione tonight, who seems like she might have grabbed a girl in this whole fiasco, as well as having some strange experience with a older woman. But yeah, this has been fantastic. You can follow me at Carby Beep on Twitter. Occasionally I remember to post. Otherwise, I will catch you in the chats while I lurk and follow everybody on the streams.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Car. How about Angela?
Hello there, everybody. My name is Angela. I've been playing Cordelia Blackrose, aka the perpetually internally anxious mom lesbian. Remarkably, that archetype is something I do more often than you think. You can find me over on various streams, namely in places like All Nerds Here or over on Utopia, where I'm usually involved in either one-shots or ongoing things happening there, like the Cape and Blade series that's been going on there for a couple seasons now. You can also find my writing either on Patreon at Philosophem, where I have over 214 poems available for viewing, half of which are open to the public. I have musical pieces, as I am a freelance musician. I have poetry and blog posts in various places like Rooted in Rights. You can catch me in podcasting on Queerly Yours as my partner of 10 plus years as an open polyamorous couple. And also you can catch my game design materials over at Voice of the Phoenix on itch.io, where I have 17 playbooks for the Slayers RPG posted inspired by Final Fantasy, in particular Final Fantasy 14 Jobs. And also I have an upcoming district for the Slayers RPG going to be published in the Slayers Almanac that is called Yenis, that is a city built on the body of a dead phoenix, because that's my motif. I have a brand, and it is Firebird. That is me, and I think everything that I do.
Awesome. Thank you. Darby, how about it?
Hello, I am. I have written a script so that I do not forget. So, yes, I'm reading an extra message. This. Well, I need to remember when the show goes live. But I'll run through my other stuff real quick first. Hello, I am Darby. I had fun playing Verdi, this absolute imbo of a lesbian. You can, if you liked hearing me stammer through 90% of my lines, you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch as Chaotic Darby. I do things. Tomorrow you can find me on Weave the Tale for the final part of our Black Void Cephalopod game showdown, where I somehow managed to survive and am now going up against the other survivor. It's gonna be fun. Spencer and I have been chatting. We've got some stuff prepared. It's gonna be a blast. You can also on Saturday you can catch me on Vancouver by Night's channel for a Kids on Bikes stream for charity for Extra Life. So that'll be neato, and you should. I'm also an admin for TTRPG that I've remembered because I've written down. So some of the other things that are here on TTRPG are Besieged by the Dead and our monthly episode of TTRPG. You should catch Besieged by Dead. You can catch Besieged by Dead on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. And you can catch the talk show on 2 p.m. on Sunday, the last Sunday of every month. Coming up for the talk show, the guest for the month is going to be Jude, aka Mermaid Royale from Death to Divinity, and the Noir Enigma, who's going to be the musical guest as well.
Cool.
So y'all
Awesome.
should check that out. It'll be super neaterino. Yeah.
Thank you. And Momo.
Hello, I'm Momo, and I am DM who streams Rime of the Frost Maiden every Saturday, 6 p.m. PST on A Minstrel's Tale. Also play some variety games there and stream those, sharing different stories across the realm and beyond. You can find me on Twitch, or Twitter, also at A Minstrel's Tale. And if anybody wants to collab or work together, I'm always down. Yay.
And thanks so much. I've been Miguel. You can catch me on Twitter, Instagram at Miguel__ Classico. You can catch me on Besieged by the Dead this Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, like Darby mentioned, where I play Rogelio, last name, can't think of it, Rogelio Cazador, Silver Fox Extraordinaire. And you can catch me this Friday on the initiative order at a one shot at the time. I can't remember when it starts. So great plug there. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night and stay amazing because you all are.